look forward to joining you throughout the course of the day. As we mentioned, Purdue deferred, and that's not a surprise, Dick Vermeil. Many times Leon Burnett wants to give the choice to the other team.
Yeah, he does. You know, it's so unusual. He must have great confidence in his defense. Plus, he's having trouble with his kicker, having lost his starting kicker prior to the season starting.
As I mentioned, it was misting as we approach kickoff, but look at the temperature for this time of year. 70 degrees, the wind blowing as we view the game from right to left. This is Jonathan Briggs, and that's the guy that's causing some problems. It'll be kicking off to John Woolridge and Vince Workman. And Briggs hits this one very well. So all that concern by Leon Burnett is thrown aside as Briggs does an excellent job. Okay, offensively, Jim Carsados, 4th rated passing efficiency quarterback in the nation. Cooper, big, strong. He just runs over people. Woolridge has 3 100-yard days. Lanise, he'll make the big catch for him. Carter might be as good as anybody that's playing in the college ranks. And Taggart, he's one of the best catching tight ends they've had in a long time.
Gary, look for fullback Big Cooper to really get in there and pound at him today.
That may be their game plan, to run at him. John Woolridge will start. We'll see Keith Byers before the afternoon is over. Carsados from the 20. That's Mike Lanise in motion. Give to John Woolridge, a play action fake. Beautiful pass comes out to George Cooper, and that'll be a first down to the 34. There is Roy Graves, the only returning starter in the offensive line. Uhlenhake was a defensive player 10 days before the start of the season. Maggs, their best offensive lineman. Gilmore is a Villanova transfer. And Connerman, they feel he has all the tools at offensive tackle.
A group averaging 275 pounds of beef.
Ooh, and I mean big. That was a 14-yard pickup. A very nice fake that time by Carsados, setting up the pass play. From the 34, first down. Movement, that's Connerman. Larry Connerman, the sophomore from Crestline, Ohio. A little movement, a little anxious up front.
This is why sometimes a coach such as Leon Burnett goes ahead and kicks the ball off, and because defensively you can afford to be a little more intense.
Coming into the year, Ohio State's main concern was the offensive line. But after last year, everything paled by comparison. It might have been one of the great offensive lines of all time.
They're all still playing, but in a different league.
Jim Blucher, Kurt Loudermilk. They've got outstanding people to have to fill the shoes up, but it's coming on now. They feel the offensive line has started to develop. First down, 15 yards to go after the 5-yard penalty. The big fullback Cooper, and he's going nowhere on this play. Excellent reaction at that time defensively. Matt Morgan, number 59. Visco, 49, is there. Defensively, here is Ziltz. Good pass rusher. Horner's a second-team All-Big Ten pick a year ago. Holly, he is just solid in there, like an anchor. Baldwin is an excellent pass rusher. He's having some problems over the shoulder, and Visco was a freshman All-American a season ago.
They like to slant and stunt those defensive linemen in there rather than trying to take these big guys on physically.
Second down, 14 from the 30. Woolridge and Cooper in the backfield. That's Lanise in motion. Carsados on the play action. He has Lanise. He's across the 40 and knocked out of bounds close to the first down at the 44 by Morgan again. I'm impressed by the faking of Carsados.
He does a great job of head faking, putting his hand in the belly of the running back.
We look at that Purdue defense. Dishman has a track speed at quarterback. Weaver is very disciplined at the quarterback spot. Wilson, a 3-year starter, and Rod Woodson, an all-Big Ten performer, the best athlete that Leon Burnett has ever coached.
They might have to tackle more than play pass defense today.
Third down, a yard to go. Carter, the only wideout, split to the far side. What a hit on Cooper. Was he leveled that time? Excellent play by Derek Wimberly. Wimberly, great physical ability, and he showed it there.
He looks the part as you see them. Now you're going to watch right here. The quarterback's going to just hand off as deep as he can to the big fullback, and penetration by Derek Wimberly hit him in the backfield before he could get going. Chances are that he stunted in there.
That's what they did so well against Notre Dame, Dick, is move around, not try to take him on one-on-one. Tom Tupa will punt for Ohio State, and he is one of the best you'll ever watch. Going back deep is Griffin, along with Rod Woodson. Tupa hits it high. Fair catch is called for, and he has trouble. His own man got in front of his vision. Who's got it? It looked like Woodson obstructed the vision of Griffin, and Purdue has recovered. 39-yard punt. And the Boilermakers are very fortunate on that play. See who gets up on the bottom of the pile. It's going to be Griffin, the guy who fumbled the ball, so he very alertly pounced on it.
Here he is, you know, going right up to see him signal for the fair catch. You've got to wave it clearly. He does that. He doesn't get all the way under the ball and get the ball tucked under. Now it's a mad scramble.
Don't you think Woodson affected that a little bit, though, by drifting over there?
Possibly.
From the 17 now is where Purdue will have it for the first time. Griffin, the split to the near side. Mark Jackson. Now they were going about a no-back offense, which we expect to see, but now they jump a man, Wallace, in there. Everett to throw. He is nailed hard. He delivers on target. It's fumbled. Ohio State has it to 40. John Hayes caught it, was separated from it.
You're going to see him coming off the line of scrimmage. See him work underneath the double coverage. Now John Hayes is moving into the zone. He goes up and catches the ball nicely. Starts to get it tucked away, but a great hit by Sonny Gorgon, number 7. Knocks it loose. Turnover.
And the leader of the defense, Pepper Johnson, pounced on the ball. I'll tell you right now, there were 2 hits on that play. One on Everett and one on Hayes. And as an end result, Ohio State has a football. Corsados to Woolridge. Woolridge, the junior, able to advance the ball inside the 40 to the 37. Fred Strickland and Kevin Hawley made the stop. A gain of 2, and here comes Keith Byers. You can hear the roar as the Heisman Trophy candidate comes in.
It didn't take him long to decide.
They can't hear the snap count. Second down and 8. Here's Cooper. And Cooper inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Kevin Hawley, 99, one of the nose guards. It'll be 3rd and 4 now after he made that stop. There's what Byers did last year. Absolutely phenomenal.
You know, he ran for 191 yards versus Purdue last year, so I'm sure he hasn't forgotten that.
And he had a game here that was on CBS where he gained 274 yards against Illinois. 3rd down, 4 yards to go. Corsados will deliver to Byers. He's got it. He's got a block from Mag. Spins inside the 30, first down.
Here he is touching the ball for the first time in 1985 on a little swing pass followed out there by an offensive lineman. Big Bob Maggs, number 71. Here he is tucking it away. See, Big Bob Maggs, number 71, now defensive pursuit, rallying. And the Purdue defense can really rally.
I was impressed that spinning move for a guy that's had problems with the foot. Line of scrimmage at the 28, first down. Cooper will advance it to the Purdue 25-yard line, a gain of 3. Kevin Hawley made the stop. Dick, we should talk about Byers. He's come in here with a special shoe. It's an Air shoe. He has a steel plate in the shoe and also has an insole that's been built into the shoe.
Well, they're concerned because they don't think the foot will be totally healed for another 15 weeks, but it's sound enough to play on if he feels it's sound enough.
And they were going to watch him in warm-ups to see how he responded, and obviously he responded well.
Positively.
7 yards to go now on 2nd down. Lanise and Carter split to the near side. Here he comes. Flag on the play. And he is met by Chris Dishman, but he breaks that tackle, breaks another to the 20. Morgan and Woodson made the stop, a 6-yard pickup, and Dishman found out how tough it is to bring Keith Byers down.
Well, you have to realize Byers is 236 pounds. You know, coupled with big George Cooper, their fullback at 238. That's as big a backfield as you'll find anywhere.
Leon Burtnett, last year the Big Ten Coach of the Year. He was the defensive coordinator of Purdue, and when Jim Young left, he took over. They're discussing the penalty right now.
Yeah. Leon told us, you know, the other day that his biggest concern is that Ohio State's gotten better every week.
A 6-yard pickup. It moved the ball just inside the 20, and we're waiting now for them to sort this one out. Offside against Purdue. So they take the penalty instead. It's going to bring up now 2 yards to go, second down. Just underway. A turnover early. Purdue throwing a completion, fumbling the football, setting up Ohio State at their end of the field, and that's where we are right now. Lanise comes in motion. Versados rolling out. Got a man, can't find him, has Lanise down there, broken up. Very fine play by Ron Woodson. Looked like Lanise cleared earlier, and he waited too long to throw the football.
And then the secondary just sort of collapsed on the ball. Rod Woodson covered a lot of ground that time, Gary, and got back over and broke that up. You can't give this guy that much time because he's a very fine passer. Play action pass, which is the heart of Ohio State offense. Now watch him fake in there. Nice fake. Holds the linebackers. Now see the man running down the bottom of your screen, number 1, Mike Lanise. Waited a little too long to try to get him the ball. Nice job of defense by Rod Woodson. They're gifted free safety.
Carsados from Fullerton, California, now has a 3rd down 2 from the 20. Byers. He's got the first down and some as he's to the 15-yard line. Mike Weaver made the stop along with Tony Bisco. And the Buckeyes now have it at the 15. Byers, you talked about how big he is, but he has the hugest hands of any man I think I've ever been around, and gives him the ability to catch the ball so well.
He had to do that, you know, being one of 5 children. Those hands grew just reaching for his meals.
He's going to come out now.
Look at his hands.
Look at that. Woolridge has come back in at tailback, replacing Byers. First down for the 15. Cooper to the 10. Cooper to the 6-yard line. And they yell Coop every time he gets the football. Mike Morgan made the stop for Purdue.
Gary, what we might mention here is when the defense has taken the ball away, Ohio State's defense has taken the ball away, offensive team has put it in the end zone 9 out of 12 times. That's very efficient offense.
Well, they have a streak, what, of 9 scores?
9 in a row after a turnover.
From the 6, they're a yard short of the first down on second down. Woolridge out. Byers comes back in. Boy, with Cooper and Byers, that is a load in that backfield. 8:43 to go. First quarter, no score. Versados to Byers. He moves the pile a little bit, and then he's bent backwards. Looks like he got the first and goal inside the 5. Fred Strickland, who they think is going to be an outstanding player, number 48, made the stop for the Boilermakers.
Strickland plays on the weak side of the defense and is always flowing from the backside, Gary. He's going to make those backside cuts, those kind of tackles.
Earl Bruce, last year, Big Ten champions, going to the Rose Bowl.
He's pretty intense. How about when you asked him about the Heisman Trophy yesterday?
Oh, I said, would you think about redshirting Byers, or do you think he still has a chance for the Heisman? He says, look out, look out.
Came right out of his chair. I thought he was going to jump you right there.
His eyes lighted up, didn't they? Yeah. I tell you what, I thought he was going to come after me and tackle me. First and goal now for the Buckeyes, just inside the 5. Woolridge in the backfield, along with Cooper. Woolridge in the slot. Versados, shovel pass to Cooper, touchdown. George Cooper, his first touchdown catch of the year. And you know something? That is in Purdue's game plan, and we see Ohio State use it. The little shovel pass.
Shovel pass. And also, the fans must realize that if that was fumbled, it's an incomplete pass, not a fumbled lateral.
Point after attempt now. Rich Spangler, who's missed 1 this year. He's 20 of 21. Conventional field goal kicker, and he hit it. So Ohio State converts the turnover into a score. That gives them a streak now of 10 times. They've been able to take a turnover and take it in.
Now watch the quarterback come out here. The fullback sets to one side, 44. Now see him flip it there. Now Big Coop has it. Now the linebacker has to take him on right in the hole, Matt Morgan, and that is almost a physical mismatch. Here's another little shot of it. Now see him? He's going to flip it back underneath. There he's back up inside. Gets a nice block by Ulanake, 68. He takes on Morgan into the end zone. Touchdown.
And Matt Morgan's got to think twice about taking on Cooper the way he hit him at the goal line there. 7-0, Ohio State.
Morgan doesn't take the back seat either when it comes to hitting. That guy, he's from Poland originally, so he knows how to hit people.
Back at Ohio Stadium, 7-0 Ohio State, 39-yard drive, set up on the fumble recovery. Rich Spangler will kick off. Rod Woodson and Ray Wallace back deep for Purdue. That's going to be very short. Ray Wallace has it, and he'll bring it out to the 23-yard line. Kicking into the wind that time, 14-yard kickoff return, and the line of scrimmage will be the 23 for Purdue. Well, Purdue looked like they were off and running. They threw the very impressive completion only to fumble the ball, but on that play I was impressed. They got to Everett on it. He really smacked him when he completed the ball.
Well, they're going to have to get to him just a little bit sooner because he throws well under pressure.
Here's what he did last year, and of course last week he had 476 yards, and that went over Illinois. 8:09 to go, first quarter. Jim Everett with time, and on target to Marty Scott, the tight end. Across the 30, and he has a first down. Here's the offense Everett has, and we talked about his assets. Ray Wallace, their leading rusher. This man, Carter, has 37 catches, third in the country. Jackson, they call him Turf Jackson's been a phenom this year, a big surprise. Griffin will catch the ball over the middle, and Marty Scott, just a moment ago, caught his 26th pass of the year.
The significant thing about that group, you can't concentrate on one guy because the four other will catch it.
5 men, and he mixes it up well. From the shotgun this time, a first down for Purdue. And they're going to delay handoff, draw to Ray Wallace. And Wallace to the 39-yard line. Chris Spielman, 36 there to make the stop. Here is the man who's got a tough job. Keith Brown replacing Mark Trent, their best offensive lineman. Handful, his dad played that spot, as did this dad. Rick Skabinski's dad played center. They're aligned alongside each other. Tyree is a former center. Connors now with Trent out is probably their best offensive lineman.
Not as big, but good mobility and can pass protect.
And we'll watch that. They have a little different way of pass blocking than some teams. Second down now, 4 yards to go. Everett in trouble. Down he goes at the 31. Loss of 7. Darrell Lee, one of the tackles, got there first. Here's one of their outstanding pass rushers, Fred Ritter. Here's the man who just made the sack. Kummerow is a former quarterback. He's 6'6". They call him the Stork. Kolick is a nose backer. He'll play the nose and linebacker. Spielman, so intense. Thomas Pepper Johnson, a captain for the second time, and Byron Lee, a steady performer.
Very physical front group, equivalent to their offensive line.
Third down and 12 now for Purdue. Last week, Ohio State had 6 sacks against Indiana. Everett with lots of time. And it's too tall for Rodney Carter at the 42. Pepper Johnson defending on the play. William White, he is a wide side cornerback. Good man coverage. Rogan, very physical. Gordon is kind of the glue that holds them together. And Terry White is a spark plug in that secondary.
These guys might have to be better tacklers today than pass defenders, Gary.
Eric Schrummeyer, a freshman out of Canada, will punt this football from the 16, and that's Mike Lanise to receive it. Lanise averaging over 11 yards a return. Hit it very high, not exceptionally deep. And that's not going to be a good punt at all. It's going to go out of bounds at the 36 of Ohio State. 33-yard punt. The Buckeyes lead it 7-0. State has the football now at the 36-yard line after a very poor punt that time. And CBS Sports has come to Columbus, Ohio, and Ohio State. And this marks the return of the coach, Dick Vermeil.
You know, I had the good fortune of playing Ohio State in California rather than back here. It's a lot tougher back here.
What did you say? It was 10 years since you've been to a college football game?
This is the first one in 10 years.
We're glad you're back.
Yeah, it's exciting.
From the 36 now, the Buckeyes with a 7-0 lead. They have it. Cooper and Woolridge in the backfield. This is John Woolridge. Out to the 40. Against the grain across the 45. First down. Almost to the midfield stripe. A 13-yard pickup on the play. And John Woolridge, you know, he's really not gotten any credit this year. They talk about Byers all the time, but what a player he is.
He is a good player. Notice the fullback, 44 to the left side of your screen. He's going to get a great block. Oh, we missed it right now. He got to see the knockdown right there. Now the guard's out in front, gets a nice block, opens the hole. Gosh, I think, Gary, you and I could run through that hole.
Maybe you could. Let's don't get carried away here. From the 49, first down after that run by Woolridge. Woolridge with 3 100-yard days. He had 4 touchdowns last week. On a delayed handoff to Byers. Byers across the 45 and spins, stays on his feet. What a run. Yards.
All right, now watch the line blocking right here as they fire out on one side, pass set on the other. See that? 75 setting back in there. That was Graves allowing the man to get upfield, giving him a hole. Look at the power and the balance. People forgot to tell this guy he has a bad foot.
And adrenaline's flowing, isn't it? And you said that will happen so often to a player. You get that adrenaline going, you forget about any injury you've ever had. First down to the 37 of Purdue. Cooper. He'll make it to the 45, a gain of 2. Second down and 8. Kevin Hawley and Brad Horner made the stop. There's the time left of the first quarter. Ohio State scoring, 39-yard drive on a 4-yard shovel pass from Corsados to this man, Cooper, number 44. And Cooper reminds you of the Pete Johnsons, the Bob Johnsons, all the big fullbacks Ohio State's had through the years.
He is big. I visited with him in the locker room yesterday. He has about a 2-year-old son that's going to be just as big.
And this guy is big. You get up next to him, and he is a mountain. Second down and 8. Wide open is Chris Carter. Carter to the 11. First down. 24 yards. Chris Dishman made the stop.
Again, coming off play action, freezing the linebacker. See number 59 sitting right there. He couldn't drop because of the play action. Plus, he fires it right down the hole. Now Carter takes this one, puts it away, and this guy catches a touchdown pass every 6th catch so far, so he is an explosive receiver.
Dick, thus far, Corsados is 5 of 6. He's been hitting this year 63% of his passes.
He's very efficient. You know, the big thing, he ties it in nicely with the running game. So, and you just can't forget that they run the ball and play pass defense.
Another one of those California kids that's had great impact in the Big Ten. Byers this time straightened up, but he just won't go down. Hit first by Horner, and Horner is shaken up. Horner made contact first, and he's having a tough time getting up. Help arrived from Wimberly, along with Holly, but Byers made him pay for that one.
Brad Horner, number 92, is on the top of your screen here. Now, he's the defensive lineman. He slips inside there. See him right there? Now, he goes in there. Now, he's a construction major here at Ohio State, but he's never hit anybody with that kind of construction.
And look at him trying to get up. It's not easy. And he is a very fine football player. He's kind of the anchor up front for Purdue.
Outstanding student as well.
They lost a yard. It's 2nd and 11. Play action, Corsados. Trying to hit Chris Carter in the corner. And good coverage that time by Chris Dishman, who can really run very well, the sophomore out of Louisville, Kentucky. That play did not develop well. Some pretty good pressure that time from Purdue. Dick, it's impressive to me. You see a Corsados, a Trudeau at Illinois, a Harbaugh at Michigan. The California kids, what they've done here in the Big Ten.
Well, first off, out in California, you can throw the ball year-round. And you have the strong professional influence. You have the Stanford University tradition of quarterbacks and these kind of things, and it perpetuates itself.
3rd down and 11. They have those passing leagues out there all summer long. Pressure. Corsados hit hard. Lanise, touchdown. advantage on that play. Carsados was drilled by Matt Morgan, and Lanise had to hand fight for the football.
That also shows how strong his arm is, because he couldn't put his whole body into the throw, but his arm got it right there.
Rich Spangler, point after attempt. It's Ohio State 14-0 with 3:11 to go in the first quarter.
Here's Lanise, the honor student in pre-law, coming off, running a pattern, trying to work inside. He gives him a little stick to the outside, gets underneath Weaver right there. Now watch him go for the ball. Up, up. That a way to get to the highest point. Look at him, great concentration, puts it down, touchdown, and good pass defense by Weaver.
Let me show you the hit Carsados had. I was talking about Morgan. Watch this.
Now you'll see the strength of the arm. See that? He doesn't really get the follow through. He gets the shoulder pad hit right up underneath there by Matt Morgan, number 59.
Pretty good concentration on both ends.
Matt gets up and says, did he complete that?
He sure did. It's 14-0. Spangler, a line drive. It's going to be tough. Woodson's able to come up with it. He's got an alley out to the 30, and that will give Purdue very good field position at the 31. 27-yard return. Scott Leach made the stop. Well, tomorrow on CBS Sports, it will be week 7 of the NFL season, and many of you will see the Cowboys, the NFC East leader at 5-1, take on the Eagles, who were impressive last week as rubbing the Cardinals. See, Ron Jaworski's back at quarterback.
Well, you know, Ron Jaworski is that experienced, competitive guy, and he's many times an unheralded guy. He can play.
And some of you will see the Redskins and Giants or other regional games. Be sure now, check your local listings. From the 31-yard line, first down, Jim Everett needs something good to happen to Griffin. Griffin is smothered at the 33-yard line by Thomas Pepper Johnson and William White. Gain of 4, second down 6.
Gary, that's equivalent to a first down run for them. Just throwing the ball 4 and 5 yards downfield. He's going to complete 9 out of 10 of those kind of things on first down, throwing at that distance.
Purdue has had something happen to him today they really talked about not having happen. That's get down early in this game. Leon Burnett says we're not a good catch-up team in that situation, but they're forced into that posture now. Second down, almost 7 yards to go. Movement. Everett on target. Catch is made. That'll be first down catch by John Hayes, sophomore out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. A 10-yard pickup, and maybe now that will give Purdue some confidence.
I think Jim Everett audible to that pass, recognizing the defense loaded up over toward his slot. He just came over, used his head, as smart as he is and very mature, and went to the other side.
Dick, that impressed us all week about Everett. He's very calm, isn't he? Very even-tempered.
Very poised, and when you watch him on film, he never appears to be panicked regardless of the pressure.
Griffin, Hayes, and Jackson split out. First down. Everett gets away somehow, and it's dropped. Dropped by Ray Wallace. And if there's one thing Purdue has not done this year is drop passes. They've held on very well. Harry Kummerow was the guy that was giving Everett all kinds of fits in the backfield.
Good pass protection by the offensive line. 43, see him right in the middle of your screen. Mr. Wallace, he slips down, a little check down. Good avoid, good scramble, maintains poise. Broke concentration right there. He took his eye off the ball, I'm sure.
Well, you talk about a phase of your game going well, then it comes back and haunts you, doesn't it? Because they have not dropped passes like that very often. Second down 10. Boy, he just got that one off with 1 second to go. Everett going deep. And it's broken up beautifully that time. Incomplete. William White defending on the play. Mark Jackson, the intended receiver, but White was there instantaneously.
Real good defense. Watch the defensive corner up on the top of your screen. William White come in and close nicely. He's closing, and then the other defender coming right in. Have him defense both short and long, Gary.
That was Byron Lee. I was mistaken. It was White, the corner, back deep, but inside coverage by Lee.
Right, nice job.
From the 44. Third and 10. Pressure from Darrell Lee. Pressure arriving this time from Byron Lee, and they've got him inside the 35. And Everett might be a little shaken up. A loss of 10.
Pressure coming from first, the left-hand side of your screen. Number 78 getting whipped there. See him coming around. That's Darrell Lee coming around 95. He flushed it. He gets going. Can't hold the blocks that long.
That was Lee and Lee double teaming on that one. Lee and Lee. And they're not related. As now Schrumpmeyer will punt from the 20. Lanise back. Freshman hits this one better than the first one. Lanise fair catch at the 24. Ohio State off and moving with a 14-0 lead. That was a 39-yard punt. 1:12 to go in the first quarter. Everett was tackled. It looks like, Dick, he is hurt. Maybe the left arm. He's holding it. He's had some problems with his right elbow.
Well, he cut his right elbow, and it keeps, you know, re-tearing, and maybe that's what the problem, but it's hard to tell right here. One thing, he's taken a couple shots already.
Started the game that way. From the 24 now, Ohio State has the ball. They also have a 14-0 lead. Cooper and Woolridge in the backfield. Doug Smith now is checked in at a wideout. Lanise in motion. Marsados, Carter's wide open. Chris Carter at the 40. 35 and dropped at the 33. Rod Woodson eventually caught up with him. 42 yards on the play.
Again, the pass off the run. Nice play fake. Now watch the hand fake right there. Good hit. Now he comes back up, lays it up deep right down the middle. Number 2, Chris Carter looking for it. No one around him. They're in a double zone. 2 deep safeties. They collapse on him right now. Gives him a little that old running back move and gets tackled.
He was wide open. You can't get any opener in that.
That play action fake froze everybody.
From the 34, 42 yards on the play. Myers is back in. He's got a convoy. Cooper throws a block. Look at this. Just won't go down. Gets almost to the 30-yard line. A pickup of 2. Matt Morgan eventually caught him. As you see, we're winding down to the end of this first quarter of play.
You know, Gary, Ohio State has not been a good first quarter team. They were minus 14 points in the first quarter, having scored 21 and given up 35. Now today they got their motor running in the first quarter. Watch out for that second quarter.
I was going to say, tell Purdue they're not a good first quarter team. Yeah. Everett, we hope he can continue. It looked like he was all right, but he was in some pain.
You'd have to carry that guy off in a stretcher before he'll get out of this ball game.
From Albuquerque, New Mexico, the senior who started only 19 games. He has a chance, Manyfield, to go over 4,000 yards passing this year. 14-0 our score. Ohio State leads Purdue. We'll return after this commercial break and a word from your local station. As he took a real shot the last time he was in. Right now, his Purdue defensive teammates are on the field as Ohio State has it at the 30. They have a 2nd down and 6. 14-0, the Buckeyes. George Cooper, the back behind Marsados. And Cooper has a football, and he is trying to pick up the first down. He's very close, inside the 25 to the 24. Matt Morgan and Derek Wimberly, and this is what you were talking about, Dick. Second quarter, how Ohio State has played this year.
They have really dominated. That's plus 78 points, and I think that's the most outstanding domination stat I have seen this year. You know, of course, having done pro football, you don't see that, and that just shows the strength of this football team.
And yet they had a brilliant first quarter, scoring 14 points. From the 25, it's just short of the first down. It's 3rd down, a yard to go. Woolridge and Cooper, the split backs. Carter and Lanise split out. Sneaking is Marsados, and that'll be a first down. Okay, we have an update in New York on Notre Dame and Army. Here's Pat Hayden.
Gary, after an Army fumble on the 16, Notre Dame had 1st and goal on the 4-yard line. This was 4th down. Pernell Taylor over for the score. Notre Dame up 7-0 in the first quarter. Remember, Army trying to go 6-0. Let's go back to Gary and Dick.
Patrick, thank you. As I remember, or was reading, Army hasn't beaten Notre Dame since 1958.
1958. Where were you in 1958?
I was in high school then.
I was getting my master's.
You're not that much older than I am.
Just about 5 years.
First down now for Ohio State. Tupa is the quarterback. Now that's a real shakeup. Tupa throwing incomplete. He took a real pop that time, trying to hit Ed Taggart. Now Carsados on the last sneak. Was he hurt, or what has happened? As Tom Tupa, a sophomore from Brecksville, Ohio, has come in at quarterback, and now Carsados comes back in. Maybe they just sent him in for one particular play.
Maybe they wanted to run that naked bootleg coming right out there. And, you know, Tupa has played a little bit this year, but of course not in the league of Jim Carsados experience-wise.
That was a real shakeup because Tupa had played so very little. He'd thrown 11 passes prior to that one. Carsados is 7 of 9, 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2nd and 10. John Hutchinson, the tight end, can't hang on. Coverage that time from Mike Weaver. Hutchinson this year broke a hand earlier this year in a game against Colorado, but as Earl Bruce put it, he didn't slow down at all. He just continued on.
You know, and here's a kid who was a high school quarterback playing tight end. You know, a lot of players don't like that. It really affects their attitude when they go on to college football, and they've got to learn to adjust and allow coaches to put them where they can play best.
That's a good point, Dick. You were talking about trying to sell the idea of a quarterback like Cumro going to defensive end, another guy going on the other side of the ball. That's not easy.
When I was a college recruiter, we had lost players to other schools because we wouldn't make that commitment.
3rd down now, 10. Rosados, end zone, intended for the tight end Taggart. Coverage that time coming from Rod Woodson. And all of a sudden, Ohio State has missed on 3 straight attempts, and it comes to 4th down.
You know, you would think with this lead of 14 points, they'd go ahead and pound those big guys at them down there inside that 25-yard line and take advantage of their physical prowess.
You know, you wonder if they didn't lose a little continuity, though, with Tupa coming in that one play.
Maybe, I don't know. But Bruce knows what he's doing, believe me. I've coached against this guy and had to hang on to win, believe me.
This will be a 40-yard field goal attempt by Rich Spangler, who's 6 of 7 this year. Make it officially 39 because it's just inside the 30. And he hits it dead center. Spangler makes it 17-0. Ohio State's doing everything right at home.
Gophers of Minnesota in college football next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Gary Bender, Dick Vermeil. Dick, last year at this time, Spangler was struggling as a field goal kicker. He's missed only 1 this year.
Well, he had lost his confidence, and Coach Bruce told us yesterday at that time he couldn't hit a bear in the rear end with a handful of rice, he said.
I loved it. When he said that, we both broke up. But he's kicking them now. 17-0 Ohio State. This one will be out of the back of the end zone. Well, as we mentioned at the top of this broadcast, a big doubleheader on CBS, and I know people very anxiously awaiting this one in Iowa City between the Hawkeyes of Iowa, top-ranked against Michigan, Chuck Long against Michigan, who's given up only 1 touchdown this year, and then some of you will see a game between Auburn and Georgia Tech. Bo Jackson, who already has 991 yards rushing, going against the Rambling Wreck, the Yellow Jackets, who have been playing very well under Bill Curry. First down at the 20 now for Purdue. They trail 17-0. Everett giving up to Rodney Carter, and Carter gets 5 yards out to the 25-yard line. Leon Burnett has not been able to get his rushing game going this year. They've only been averaging 85 yards a game.
Well, they don't rush very often. You know, if you're going to run the ball efficiently, you have to run the ball. You have to call it. And that's not right now what they do best. So they go ahead and use the short passing game, getting it to all 5 receivers in place of the run. The run actually is their changeup.
2nd down and 5 from the 25. 13 minutes to go until halftime. Split to the near side. Comes Griffin and Jackson. Hayes to the top. Everett on the shovel, and it's fumbled. Now that'll be an incomplete forward pass. That ball is dead, and we brought that point up earlier, and I imagine most of the fans here are confused.
Well, that is ruled a forward pass, not a forward lateral. And you'll see this. Now watch the quarterback as he gains depth right away, right in the middle of your screen. Fullback Wallace steps to one side. Now see him come under. He flips it with his left hand. He flipped it a little bit high, and he was watching the defender rather than the ball, and therefore he turns it over.
Defense was not fooled at all. Last week, Purdue ran that shovel pass 7 times against Illinois. Third down, 5. Everett underneath this time to Carter. Carter has a first down out across the 40 to the 41, and that's the kind of offense they love to run, a 15-yard pickup.
Again, another check down where that running back Carter stays in the backfield, lets the rush get up there, and lets the defense drop, and they drop it in front of them. You know, many times the quarterback takes a heck of a hit after that because it does take time. Taking a look at this now, watch the quarterback now. He's back there. The running back's going to sit in there and hide. See him to the right of your screen, 24. He drops out of there. He normally takes a hit, as I said. Lee put him down. Now Carter can become a running back rather than a receiver.
That's the reason he was 3rd in the nation coming in here and receiving. They like that ball control passing offense. 15 yards on the play to the 41. Carter carrying and runs into all kinds of congestion. Makes it to the 44. Eric Kummerow made the stop for Ohio State.
You know, what really bothers me in presenting this game in college football for the first time, Gary, is the offensive line, for example, here of Purdue, they flop them. And one time that guy is at right tackle at 78, the next play is at left tackle at 78. Boy, that really throws me.
Why do they do that?
Well, they do that to take advantage of their physical strength and cut down mental learning.
Thus far, Purdue has a -3 yards rushing, but that has not been their forte. They want to throw, and now they have a 2nd down and 7. Marty Scott, the tight end, trying to get the first down. He's going to be short of it. And short of the 50, Pepper Johnson, number 98, made the stop. That will be now 3rd down and 2. As Marty Scott is one of those tough 3rd down yard guys that you love to go to.
Yeah, and he's very efficient. He catches the short ball. He's not going to take and run it for 60 yards or anything like that. The longest catch in his career is 36 yards. He's a mechanical engineering student, so you know that he's smart enough to figure out how to beat defenses.
Leon Burnett calls him the layman's tight end.
Yeah.
3rd and 2.
I think I'd throw in this situation with them, how well they throw those short passes.
Looks like it's wide open, doesn't it? They're going to give instead, and diving fake beautifully by Everett to Jackson. Jackson's to the 10. He's done fighting to the 5-yard line. He fumbled the ball, and it's Ohio State's. Greg Rogan comes up with it. 45 yards, and then they lost it.
Great fake by Carsano. See him put the hand in there, hold the ball back on the hip, lay it up. He did it nicely. But he gets the ball stripped. Rogan comes in there. Watch the ball get stripped right out of there. They're fighting for it. Terry White gets it, and Rogan comes in and steals it. Oh, gosh.
That's twice now. Purdue has lost the ball after catching a pass.
That's twice already in this ball game.
Earlier, they started the game. Hayes had one stripped, and now Jackson. So Ohio State comes out of that one in good shape at their own 6-yard line. Woolridge. He pounds it to the 12-yard line. You get the feeling if Purdue could just put a complete drive together, they could get both ends of it to stay together, they could come back in this game.
They could, but let's give credit to the Ohio State defense. Each time there has been a turnover, it has been forced turnover. Somebody has knocked it out, or in this case, pulled it out of there. Very fine defense. Good coaching by the defensive coordinator and his staff, Gary Blackney.
2nd down, 4 yards to go, almost 5. Woolridge very close to the first down as he crosses the 15 to the 16-yard line. Tony Visco and Matt Morgan made the stop. There's the first fumble we talked about after a completion, and the last one after a completion.
And you notice that they've had a long field, a long ways to go to score.
Interesting story yesterday that Earl Bruce was developing. He feels that Purdue is not the same football team on the road. I guess a lot of teams you could say that about.
Well, I would say that would be true of Ohio State as well. Didn't he even say that we are a little more excited and more emotional and more intense when we play at home? So I think most schools are pretty much like that. You know, the players aren't quite as mature as they are in the pro level, and the home atmosphere helps them.
Purdue is 0-2 on the road thus far this year. On a first down, give to Byers. And Byers just about to the 20-yard line. It'll be a gain of 3. Second down, 7.
You know, I noticed Mike Lanise, when he goes in motion, he goes by the quarterback and taps him on the fanny and keeps going. And then he looks away from the line of scrimmage. That must mean it's a run, because I doubt he'd do that if it was a pass.
Ohio State now with a second down and 7, just short of the 20. Woolridge will come in. They're going to have both. No, Byers will come out then. Byers is limping a little bit, Dick, as he retreats to the near side.
With all that protection on his foot, maybe he's having a hard time lifting it up.
In motion comes Mike Lanise. Rosado's trying to take off, but he's going nowhere. Excellent reaction that time by Anthony Rose. Let's go back to New York and join Pat Hayden.
Gary, this is the kind of start Jerry Faust has needed all year long. Here, Steve Berline finds a wide-open Tim Brown, who would completely turn the defensive back around. Notre Dame goes up 14-0 in the first quarter. Let's go back to Gary and Dick.
Well, Notre Dame had a week off. Maybe that extra time in preparation has gotten them back to where they want to be.
Well, when you stop and think of the physical size of Notre Dame and then compare it with West Point, where they have size restrictions, they should be able to do that.
However, look what Air Force did.
Yeah.
Third down now. Garzados to Cooper. Cooper may have the first down. Across the 25, 26-yard line. Strickland and Sumlin made the stop. And Cooper now is hurt. Cooper is hurt now. I wonder, Dick, he's had problems with a knee locking on him.
He has a floating cartilage, and it does bother him, and maybe that's it right now.
They've had to go to the sideline. Earl Bruce even put it in one time for him, and I don't know where he got that expertise, but he did it on the sideline, and he's had this problem all year long. They want to have surgery at the end of the year, but can ill afford to lose him. Well, while they look Cooper over, let's take a break with the Buckeyes leading 17-0. And he did get the first down, and he's been replaced by Bill Matlock, number 38. And there's an interesting story. He is a freshman walk-on. He was given a scholarship. They use him in blocking situations. And number 38 wanted to be a Buckeye since he was 5 years old.
You know, no one recruited the guy. No one recruited him. You know, it's amazing. There are a lot of walk-ons that come into college and do well. I know walk-ons in college that ended up being #1 draft choices in the NFL.
When you were at UCLA on that Rose Bowl team, you had a lot of walk-ons, didn't you?
Well, we had a few, but I tell you, that was a very talented group, believe me. You don't beat a great team like Ohio State was without great players. But we had a couple walk-ons that played in a ball game, and as you said, Gary played well.
And so the line of scrimmage now on a first down for Ohio State is a 26. Matlock with Woolridge in the backfield. They'll use him for his blocking ability. Not very big. He's 5'8", weighs 224 pounds, however. Garzado's hit hard by Wimberley, and it goes off the hands of Chris Carter. Pretty good hit in the backfield that time. I think that was Holly that came through.
He has a little pressure on him here in this first down play action pass. He gets back there. He sets up nicely. Now, look how big this guy is. Nice poise. Look, he has time now. Here comes the heat right there. Number 99, Kevin Holly, gave him a good shot. Helmet right underneath the shoulder pad.
He is a junior out of Washington, Pennsylvania, near the Pittsburgh area. And they say he's been improving steadily, and you can see that on that play. Second down now. 10. Garzado's under pressure again and has to get rid of it. Dumped again. Taggart, the intended receiver. That was Fred Strickland, the linebacker, who put the heat on, as you said. Missouri has not won this year, and they are leading Nebraska.
Nebraska will get their motor running. Garzados, you know, from Sunny Hills High School in Southern California. His parents are at the ball game today. We recruited a few guys out of Sunny Hills High School. You know, they've had to run a good program over the years. They're out in Orange County.
Third down, 10. Cooper has now come back in at fullback with Byers. Garzados with time to Byers. Byers Briggs makes a big move, but that's not going to be enough for the first down. He's going to be stopped at the 35-yard line. Kennedy Wilson and Fred Strickland make the stop. An 8-yard pickup. It'll bring up 4th down and 2. Last year, Keith Byers caught 42 passes. To show you his ability coming out of the backfield.
And when you are as great a running back as he is, no one even talks about his ability to catch a ball. But as we showed earlier in the game, those hands, he can probably catch it one hand. I had a receiver named Harold Carmichael that could do that, reach up and catch the ball with one hand.
Yeah, and he was 6'8" to go along with it. Tupa will punt. Steve Griffin goes back. Oh, what a punt this is. That ball is going to make it in the end zone. At the 5-yard line is where Purdue will inherit the ball. A 60-yard punt.
And 4.9 hang time. Excellent hang time.
Tupa last year led the country in net punting, and he's after that title again. Have a good punter, and Ohio State does.
You know, punters don't often get an opportunity to do like a wide receiver and high five, and because they, you know, a punt is a punt. But here he hits the 60-yarder, and believe it or not, he has a 70-yarder to his credit in his career.
Tom Tupa, the backup quarterback, and one of the best punting the football. They thought it was going to go in, the end zone did not, and very alertly Ohio State pounced on it. Purdue has it at the 5. Jim Everett giving off. And Medlock has come in. James Medlock, a big sophomore out of Georgia. He is in there for running purposes because he is 6'2", 218. As we said, they've had a tough time running the ball, and he does a little better job hitting inside than does Rod Carter.
Plus, he has a hand problem. They say if he's in the ball game, we aren't going to throw him the ball, but we'll allow him to block and allow him to run with it.
Stone hands.
Stone hands.
From the 9. 2nd down and 6. Everett to Carter, and he is really belted. Going to be short of the first down, 3rd down. Let's go back down to Pat.
Gary, you mentioned that Missouri score. Watch the catch here by Victor Moore. The ball is underthrown. The advantage is always to the offensive player. That made the score 7-3. Nebraska came back and kicked the field goal, 7-6 in the first quarter. Let's go back to Gary and Dick.
No, Woody Wittenhauser said, we're going to point to next season. I guess he's trying to fool Nebraska, huh? Yeah. After they went 0-5, he was thinking about next year. 3rd down, 2 yards to go. Everett with a nice fake. Too tough to handle. That ball was zipped hard. Intended over the middle for Griffin. He could not hang on at all.
I got tired of throwing the short pass on 3rd and 2, went deeper.
He had an awful lot on that ball. That would have been very difficult.
Possibly Ohio State defense clamped on to the underneath people, forcing him to go downfield with the ball.
The Canadian from Quebec, Ernie Schrummeyer, will go back and punt. He had an excellent week last week, averaged over 45 yards. He'll get it away to number 1, Lanise.
You know, they have 5 Canadians on this Purdue football team. They recruit Canada heavily.
He's going to have to hurry. They're going to have a delay of game. The clock is, that's going to be delay of game. Hold that phone. They're not going to be able to kick it. They're going to have a 5-yard penalty, and that's going to put Schrummeyer even deeper in the end zone. That's not easy for a freshman before 90,000 people to kick out of your own end zone.
And regardless of how well he hits this ball, Ohio State is going to be probably on the plus side of that 50-yard line, again playing on a very short field.
And he is kicking into the wind. I don't think Leon Burnett, from his expression a moment ago, is very happy with this game is developing. Trailing 17-0, having to kick from his own end zone.
You know, this punter is not just a punter. He was a fine high school athlete, having rushed for about 1,800 yards in high school. So he's just not a punter.
He was a teammate of Alonzo Highsmith, who's now at Miami of Florida.
It's a return ball.
Yes, it is. Kicked low, but he got a pretty good bounce. Lanise has it at the 50. And I'll tell you, Purdue probably feels they're pretty fortunate to make him start from the 45. It was a 48-yard punt. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Schrummeyer growing up a little bit. And wait a minute, we have a penalty flag? Oh, it's way back here inside the 10-yard line. Holding Ohio State.
Leon coached as an assistant coach under Darryl Rogers at San Jose State and Michigan State.
Has a lot of respect for Darryl. Learned a lot about the X's and O's. Now, this penalty being discussed. And they're going to step it off, and that would give them the first down. First down, Purdue.
Bruce says, who called it? He wants that guy's name. You know, the other thing in the National Football League, there's jersey numbers on all the officials. So you can yell at that guy by number if you don't remember his name.
You do that? Hey, 98?
Hey, 98, you.
You would do that. We'll be back. Purdue gets a break. Ohio State with the lead. Purdue, after a holding penalty, is given a first down. They will be operating now from their own 17-yard line. Complete to Marty Scott, and he's hit instantaneously by Rogan. And help arrived, and Scott is shaken up. That's the same guy, Rogan, that stripped the ball earlier from Mark Jackson.
And when the coaches told us he plays the short side of the field defensively, Rogan that is, you can see why, because they like to roll him up toward the line of scrimmage so he can get in a position to make those kind of hits. He's already had 25 tackles as a defensive back coming into this game.
He is physical. Remember, they call themselves the men of brutality, the four secondary guys.
He hasn't declared a major yet, but one thing he has declared, war on receivers in his area.
Unconventional war. Second down now, 7. Tipped and knocked down. Looks like Byron Lee will get credit for getting a hand on that one. Third down and 6.
Everett gets back deeper than a lot of college quarterbacks, normally taking a 7-step drop. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that puts him back there about 9 yards. He has nice time, but you can see Brian Lee, number 82, gets up nicely like he should and bats it away.
Third down, and Purdue needs something. With 4:16 to go in the first half, trailing 17-0. Jackson and Griffin split out from the shotgun. Griffin, he's got it, and that'll be a first down, and that really breaks Purdue up the field in a hurry. 22-yard pickup to the 44. Rogan defending on the play.
Rogan right up here is, see him right side of your screen in the red jersey, number 29. He's rolled up, playing short. Now he has help from the safety. Now there's a breakaway. See the corner move by Griffith. The safety will appear to the right of your screen. There he comes. He got there just a little late. Number 12, Terry White.
Dick, you know what that play reminds me of is Leon Burnett talked about Griffin's the best he's ever had getting his feet in bounds. You see how cognizant he was there where he was. 22-yard pickup, a first down. Everett Coley giving chase. Underhands it, gets away with a completion to Carter, and Carter's got a first down, and this is what Purdue's done all year long, is just kind of play a chess game with you, and another 22-yard pickup on the play.
Did you see Everett threw that ball a little bit sidearm or almost underarm? Play action fake. Carter, number 24, slipping in the middle of your screen, coming through on a check down. Scramble, Kolick pushes him off to one side. Nice block. He works to the line of scrimmage, draws up the linebacker, lays it off. Sidearm. Now this guy who last week really came onto his own, Gary, as a running back in the open field. They really found out that this guy was better in the field than they thought.
Well, he had 11 catches last week, and we saw him in the open field, and he was doing something outstanding. Just amazing moves. First down. Everett to Scott. Scott inside the 30 and dragged out of bounds. Byron Lee getting over there again. Byron Lee covers a lot of ground at that outside linebacker spot. A couple of times he's drifted back in that secondary.
Again, back in the shotgun, giving him the advantage to the quarterback to have everybody in front of him initially. He normally at that time doesn't drop 7 steps like we just demonstrated. He goes back 3.5 or so. There's Scott out there in the flat. Byron Lee coming to make the play. Get him down, Byron.
Second down and 4. Griffin and Hayes split out this time. Protection is there, and he's on target. completion to John Hayes. That will be another Purdue first down. They'll mark it at the 11-yard line. And, Dick, I was impressed with that throw, an 11-yard completion.
He, you know, as we saw in the practice field, he throws the ball real well. Now watch Hayes on the left side of your screen coming off, trying to work back to the inside along the hash marks. Now watch him stop and now come back to the ball. Come on, John, come back to it, because that defender is that away. Get it tucked away nicely. No turnover this time.
I would imagine the tuck away has been a big discussion on the sideline after 2 fumbles.
And it hasn't been a pleasant discussion, believe me.
Everett now with 179 yards, hitting 13 of 19. First down, just short of the 15-yard line. Over the middle, complete to Carter, to the 5, touchdown. Well, Dick, you can call it anything you want. Basketball, offense, a chess game, but they're tough to defend.
You know something, you see this kind of football all the time on the West Coast for the last 15 years. It's coming into the Big Ten now, maybe because of Mike White and his influence, the Purdue influence, more teams throwing the ball. Really a nice job by Mr. Carter there, making people miss in the open field.
Everett with his 16th touchdown toss of the year. Jonathan Briggs, point after on the way. He hit it. Remember, that was a 95-yard drive. It took 10 plays.
Shotgun again. Watch the center snap the ball without looking back. See that? He got it back there nicely. A little heat coming on, a little cross charge. He's waiting. There's the check down, number 24, right in the middle of your screen. Now watch the move right here. Boom, boom. He makes him miss. Now watch this one right there. He makes Gordon, Sonny Gordon, number 7, miss. He found out he could do this real well in last week's ball game.
You don't coach that, do you?
No, you don't. But the coaches at Purdue were surprised because they hadn't seen him use this talent in the past.
Purdue got the break on the hold on the punt, and they marched 95 yards to score. The punt, and Everett just mixed it up extremely well.
He did a nice job. But, you know, Gary, through a season of 11 games, you may not have 5 or 6 95-yard scoring drives. They've got to be very pleased with that drive.
Jonathan Briggs will try to squib it, and it's caught very short and brought out to the 37-yard line. Briggs has had a tough time kicking off this year, so they tried to squib it, and Ed Taggart, the tight end, caught that ball on a line and was able to return it for good field position.
But didn't Briggs kick the opening kickoff into the end zone?
Well, but he had the wind to his back, and I
guess
imagine that was a determination on this one. You know, I was surprised what he did the first time into the end zone. Line of scrimmage now. You know, Ohio State 39.
Youngsters have a way sometime of doing what you expect them to be able to do, and if you don't think they can do it real well, sometimes they don't do it very well.
Power of positive thinking.
You bet.
Byers is in the backfield again with Cooper. Here comes Keith. And Strickland is there, and he's going to have some help, but they get the job done. That's true gang tackling.
You can see the enthusiasm of Anthony Rose, number 68. He's sort of the emotional spark plug of this defensive team. He's not a starter. He's not very big. At 6'2", 243, which is big enough, but he's one of those emotional guys.
Well, how about a guy like Spielman on the other side? He's the linebacker for Ohio State. Enthusiasm can carry a long way.
It really can. I have a little quote I'll give you on that later in the game if we get time.
I know what it is. I want to hear it. Second down, 11. Cooper and now Woolridge in the backfield. Movement. Baldwin gets back. Mercados with time, but not well thrown. Carter, the intended receiver, and it's going to bring up third down. 3rd and 11. What was that about enthusiasm?
I was reading one time, I read what Thomas Edison said about enthusiasm. He said, when a man dies, if he can pass on enthusiasm to his family, he's left them with an estate of incalculable value, and I've never forgotten that. It really influenced my coaching.
Would you write that down for me after the game?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've written it down, and I'll tell you, I like it because it really is important to be enthusiastic.
2:09 left now in this first half. A big third down for Ohio State. The blitz, and Byers can't hang on. He's upset at himself, and I thought maybe there his foot bothered him a little bit as he tried to make a cut and come over to the near side.
I didn't see it that way, Gary, but possibly if he'd have gotten the ball. Now watch Byers, number 41, moving off to the left. It's going to be a little screen pass. You'll see a center moving out there with him. If it had been a completion, you can see they had offensive linemen, receivers out in front of him to block. I don't see him there favoring his foot.
Anyway, it's going to bring up 4th down, and all of a sudden now Purdue is starting to climb back into this one. They trail 17-7. Tupa, just a moment ago with a 60-yard punt, will boot this one from his own 24. Griffin goes back along with Rod Woodson. Another beautiful punt. They'll let it hit again, and this one makes it into the end zone. 5.2
hang time. Unbelievable, gentlemen. That is a heck of a punt.
Well, he bested his other one by 2 yards. This was a 62-yarder. Everett on the break to Carter, and Carter's got it out of bounds, and there's the midfield stripe with 1:47 left in the first half, a 30-yard completion.
That's taking advantage of the inexperience of a cornerback. Greg Rogan took the bite on a curl pattern run in front of him, and Carter came up outside him and ran down the sideline.
Carter now has 5 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. Just short of the midfield stripe. Griffin and Jackson, the wideouts. Purdue has all 3 of their timeouts remaining. All kinds of time to throw, and Carter coming across the middle couldn't hang on.
You know, Jimmy in this case has to be a little bit careful of getting zeroed in a little bit too much on Carter. He had other people running free in that same basic pattern that time, but he was so intent of getting Carter the ball that he didn't go to those other people.
Dick, you and I talked about Everett. He's going to get better as a passer. You talk about a difference of a thrower and a passer.
Well, he has that rifle arm, and I think he will learn as he matures to change the velocity on the ball, much like a golfer using a different iron to hit the ball.
2nd down and 10. On target, and what a hit is put on at the 46-yard line. That's Spielman. That's one of the Mr. Enthusiasm guys that we're talking about. And he really lowered the boom on Griffin.
I talked to Spielman in the locker room yesterday, and we're talking football. I thought he was going to get in a 3-point stance and butt me. He gets excited.
Let's check this guy. We may have the wrong man. I think that's Scott, the tight end. We'll wait to be absolutely sure on it. That's who it is. He earlier took a big shot. He's up and going. He's tough.
You know,
we'll have to bring him out, though, for one play.
Here he is, deep in the shotgun again. Now follow number 36, Spielman, to the left corner of your screen. Now watch him close. Scott gets it, tucks it away, and great fundamental hit. Shoulder pad, head across the bow. Shoulder pad being used as the weapon to make the play.
Earl Bruce said he's the most intense football player he's ever coached. 3rd down, 6 yards to go. Everett hits Wallace. That's going to be short of the 1st down. He rolls it up at the 42. Pepper Johnson there defending on the play. Now, the clock running with a minute. You have a 4th down coming up and 2 yards to go. You think you go for it here?
I think you will.
And Purdue's going to ask for a timeout.
You can sort of sense in this coaching staff, Leon Burtonet's staff, you know, headed up by defensive coordinator Joe Tiller. These guys came here to play. I think they'll go after it.
Okay, we'll find out. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Of commitment to academic excellence and success on the playing field continues. Big Ten football is exciting, competitive, and entertaining, as evidenced by the continuous record-setting attendance figures posted year after year. But it's more than just the thrills and glory on the field. It's a weekend of bands, cheering crowds, color and pageantry, which makes Big Ten football such a happening. The conference also excels in many other sports, including men's basketball, which always ranks among the nation's best, and ever-improving women's basketball, as well as strong support programs like hockey and wrestling, which have been dominated by Big Ten teams on a national level in recent years. But it's the nationally renowned academic reputation which distinguishes Big Ten universities, where tomorrow's leaders in research, technology, and higher education are ready to meet today's challenges.
Okay, while we're away on 4th down, Purdue went for it. They picked up 7 yards, and that is enough for the 1st down as Marty Scott, the tight end, came up with a grab, and he's been a very clutch performer for him.
They're in their 2-minute fast offense right now, not huddling, calling things on the line of scrimmage.
2 timeouts left for Purdue. Everett setting up, got the time, on target to Jackson, and that'll be another 1st down to the 15-yard line. Purdue will go again without the huddle.
Look at the general directing traffic right now. He's telling them over here, strength to the right, white side. Now he's probably using his color audible, as we heard him on the practice field. Gold, blue, and black, different colors using to designate the plays.
21-yard pickup, just short of the 15. You see the time left in the first half. Everett on target to Carter. He'll stop the clock, goes out of bounds at the 12-yard line. He stops the clock with 38 seconds. One thing about Purdue that Leon Burnett made very important to us, they are more of a 4-down team because their field goal game is not solid.
They don't have a lot of confidence in that at this time, and so it really helps your play calling, because instead of thinking of 3 plays for a first down, you think about 4 plays for a first down. And that, I'll tell you, I think I've lost ball games as a coach in the past when I was thinking 3 downs field goal rather than 4 downs first down, because the darn guy missed the field goal.
Second down and 7. Hayes, Griffin split out. This is Scott in motion. Everett in trouble. That's going to be a big loss. Byron Lee back to dropping. 30 seconds now. Boy, that loss puts them all the way back out to the 23-yard line.
This is a coverage sack. He wanted to go downfield, but Ohio State secondary did a nice job. He's getting good protection there. Look at the nice time he has to throw. He shouldn't have moved up in the pocket there. He hurt his offensive tackle. If he'd have stayed where he was, that offensive tackle would have been able to keep that defensive lineman out there, but no one to throw to downfield.
Purdue used their timeout. They have 1 left. Byron Lee has played so well in this football game. That's twice now he's been in the backfield. It's 3rd and 17 for Purdue.
You know, an experienced quarterback right there would never take a sack when you're in field goal range.
I saw you wince.
Yeah, you never take a sack when you're in field goal range. Get it in the back of the end zone somewhere, but get rid of it.
Let's talk about the field goal situation. Jonathan Briggs is their field goal kicker. He is 4 of 8. He missed 2 last week. However, Dick, he did kick a 46-yarder against Minnesota earlier this year. He was not expected to be their field goal kicker. And then due to injuries and a young man being dismissed from their school, they went to about their 3rd-string guy, and that's been a problem this year.
Yeah, and then different than in the National Football League where you go out and sign a free agent. Here, the free agent is a walk-on.
What you do now is you have a soccer team, and you go out and look for a guy on the soccer team. 30 seconds, 1 timeout left, 3rd and 17 from the 23.
It looks like they're going to come after him, Gary. Nope.
Everett, he's going to run.
Get out of bounds, Gary.
The 10. He
Get out of
bounds, and he didn't. He's got it to the 5. It looks like he's got a 1st and goal. They're going to have to use that timeout. I know, Coach. I was thinking the same thing.
Excuse me for yelling in your ear, Gary, but that's when the old coach comes out and you start getting him. I'm standing on the side like, get out of bounds. And I'm not rooting for Purdue to win the football game, but I mean, that's just an instinct.
Spielman got there. Now they're going to measure to see if he got the 1st down. And it would be a 1st and goal if he did. They have to bring the sticks from the far side. I thought he got it, but let's see. He did. They needed 17, and they got 17 on 3rd and 17.
Again, the advantage of being back in the shotgun, having everybody in front of you. See, no red jersey. Now one appears. He puts him up there. He moves up. He looks like, hey, what's he going to do? Now he starts running, and if you've got people like that chasing you, Fred Ritter, number 90, 36, Chris Spielman hit him.
They put the clock back into play. 16 seconds. Everett, end zone, Griffin. He had a man on the other side open, but he was looking all the way to Griffin. Greg Rogan defending on the play.
It wasn't so much that the man on the other side was open, but the man had the wide field, and you lay that up over the outside shoulder play and meet me at the corner game, you have more room to break away from the defender, Gary.
That was John Hayes, the other guy on the far side. Stop the clock with 12 seconds. Griffin,
excuse me, Gary.
Griffin will be split left, Jackson right, Carter and Wallace in the backfield.
Coming after him.
And that ball was deflected. Big pressure put on.
Safety blitz.
Terry White, number 12, came through, got a hand on the ball.
Number 12 in the middle of your screen, safety blitz. Pick him up, guys. They don't do it. He hits the arm. Incomplete pass. They don't blitz very often, but when they do, it's effective. Here it comes again. Look how quick he appears in your screen. There he is right there. Arm in, gets the quarterback. Number 12. Terry White. Not very big. This guy, I talked to him yesterday. They list him at 5'9". He might be a little bit more like 5'8", because I think I could eat soup off his head, really, and I'm only 5'10".
You know, he made an interception last week, went 33 yards, said I was going to take it in like Keith Byers, but he couldn't get it in the end zone. Here we go. 3rd and goal. Lots of time. He just threw it away. And so the field goal team will come in with 5 seconds left. And this is an anxious moment for Purdue.
Decision time. This guy's, I tell you, this guy has a short fuse. He's a real intense guy. You watch him on the practice field the other day. He's coaching every position at the same time.
Well, he was a defensive coordinator before becoming head coach. And he gave up calling plays through the headset. He wanted to spend more time with the emotional aspect of the game.
That's probably because he's like a lot of us. You get so involved in the game that you actually lose your concentration on the detail.
22-yard field goal attempt for Briggs. Now remember, he missed 2 last week.
He's 2 for 3 this year at this distance, though.
Lance Scheib will hold. Snap is there. The kick is on the way, and he delivers. The West Lafayette, Indiana native. The guy they got out of their backyard with 1 second left has made it 17-10.
It's a new ball game. It really is. These kids over here on the sideline at Purdue are fired up. They go into the locker room. They have great momentum. They can talk about they're only 1 or 2 plays out of the ball game at halftime. They'll come out fired up.
That was a 75-yard drive. And now let's take a look at these institutions represented today.
Purdue University students are success-driven. Their goal is to come out on top, whether it's the annual Grand Prix go-kart race, a classroom discussion, a musical performance, a long-term research project, a sports match, or even a Rube Goldberg engineering contest. So when they graduate, Purdue students are oriented toward excellence. Purdue University, touching tomorrow, today.
The Ohio State University, a distinguished past, a dynamic future.
Leon Burnett, he was a small college All-American, played at Southwestern College in Winfield, Kansas, worked his way up through the high school ranks, joined Darryl Rogers, then went with Jim Young, and now the head coach, and his team now has come back in this football game.
You know, and they've been very strong in the 3rd quarter, and in fact, it's been their best quarter because they've scored 37 and only given up 17, a plus factor of 20 points.
Briggs, who came through in the clutch from 22 yards, hits this one kind of strange. And it's going to be picked up by Vince Workman, the freshman running back. And he runs into his own guy, and he'll be dropped at the 20. And we have come to the close of this first half of play. 17-10, Ohio State leads Purdue. We'll return after this commercial break. And a word from your local
Him
station.
from Bo Jackson is also a great receiver, but I'm sure Earl Bruce is happy to have him back, and their passes have been set off by the runs.
7 CBS at 3:30 Eastern Time. Iowa, the top scoring offense in the country. Michigan, #1 in scoring defense. Elsewhere today, later starts. #3 Oklahoma will meet Miami. #4 Arkansas will go against Texas. 5th-ranked Florida came up with 17 points in the 2nd quarter. They're leading at halftime over the Raging Cajuns 17-zip. 6th-ranked Penn State 7-0 over Syracuse. That game has just started. And the Nittany Lions have won 14 in a row from the Orangemen. Look like they're going to make it 15 in a row just based by the opening kickoff. This was Tim Durant going 78 yards. He's finally pushed out of bounds. But the long return set up a Steve Smith 5-yard run, and Penn State has the quick lead on Syracuse 7-0. Nebraska has 4 field goals, all of them by Dale Klein. That's a new school record. They're in front of Missouri 12-7 in the 2nd quarter. Make that 5 field goals now by Klein, and it's 15-7. Later today, #8 Auburn will go against Georgia Tech. Some of you will see that game here on CBS 3:30 Eastern Time. Tonight, #9 BYU meets New Mexico. Robbie Bosco, the Cougar quarterback and the Heisman Trophy candidate, has a sore shoulder which has limited his throwing in practice, but he will play tonight. #10 Air Force will collide with Colorado State later this afternoon. And Pat, you know, with Air Force and BYU at #9 and 10, this is the first time in WAC history Western Athletic Conference.
It's strong. It's on the
17-10, but at one time they led 17-0. And Dick, you kind of got the feeling Ohio State went away from their personality.
Well, I think personally they would be good to go back and live on the history of this stadium developed by Woody Hayes and get that football in the second half and come out and control it with those big running backs and allow the offensive linemen to earn their scholarship today.
Speaking of Woody Hayes, I know you want to say hello to him.
Well, he's in the hospital here in town. I'm going to stop by after the ball game and say hello. A man that everybody in this profession really respects.
Dick, this Purdue team, if they don't self-destruct, you look back at the start of this game, they fumbled a reception, they fumbled one at the 5. That seems to be the big story for them.
Beating themselves. I would be concerned of allowing their offensive team to have the ball. I would try to hang on to the ball defensively, eat up the clock, rather hang on to it offensively, and allow my offense to be my best defense. I really would.
You kind of get the feeling that Purdue now feels they can win this football game.
When you gain that confidence that we belong in this stadium and we're good enough to win, it's trouble in the second half.
And when you're on the road to finish strong like they did in that first half of play, it looks to me like it's starting to rain a little harder here. I guess that would affect Purdue more because of the throwing game.
I think the officials will do a real good job of keeping the ball dry, especially those officials from the Purdue area.
This Jim Everett, we watched him coming in here. We talked about his gaudy statistics, and he did not start out well, and he showed me some courage today, battling back from all that adversity early.
Well, he didn't allow the adversity to affect him negatively. He didn't say, hey, we're going to lose, I'm failing as a quarterback. He realized he was doing a good job, and he has confidence in his teammates, giving them credit for, hey, they're going to catch it, they're going to quit fumbling it, and go on. But I go back and give credit to that Ohio State defense. Those guys are well coached fundamentally, and do they ever tackle?
You were reacting to a couple of those wincing up here. Now, Purdue will have the choice to start the second half because they deferred. What do you expect, Leon Burnett?
I would not give the ball to Ohio State. I'd take that ball and do what they've been doing.
Just keep moving and pick up where you left off in the first half. Dick, anything about this game that has surprised you?
Well, I'm surprised that Ohio State hasn't stayed on the ground just a little more, emphasized the big fullback. Now, maybe Cooper's banged up, I don't know. Use Byers and Woolridge and run the ball just a little bit more. To me, they look or appear to be a little bit out of character with all the play-action passing. It was effective. But when they got down there on the 30-yard line that one time, remember, and they changed quarterbacks and all that, I thought they lost some continuity there.
And, of course, as we said at the start of this broadcast, neither team can afford to lose that second game of conference
This is going to be a war.
Yeah, war it'll be, and we're going to have the second half as the Buckeyes and the Purdue Boilermakers get ready for the second half of play. And we'll return after this commercial break and a word from your local station.
College football continues after this word from your local station. Toyota, who offers a full line of 1986 cars and trucks. More dependability, more trucks, more satisfied owners. Who could ask for anything more? Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, it doesn't get any better than this.
Gary Bender along with Dick Vermeil. And Dick, after Ohio State dominated the first quarter, Purdue came roaring back in this game. Of course, the turnover category really haunted them in that first quarter of play. They turned it over twice. But you made an interesting thought about how often Ohio State threw the ball in the first half.
Well, they threw the ball 17 times in the first half, and they've been only averaging 22 times a ball game. So that's a little bit out of personality, and I kind of look for them to get back to that personality and try to keep the ball away from this potent offense.
Well, this is homecoming for Ohio State, and the Grand Marshal this year is the basketball great John Havlicek. Hondo came up from the booth a while ago, and he played on the 1960 NCAA championship team here at Ohio State with the likes of Jerry Lucas, and also went on in 61 and 62 to be the runners-up. And he's really enjoyed this weekend, coming back with his wife, and came up to say hello to us. And gosh, I can't think of a better Grand Marshal they could have had.
No, can you imagine having a man of that stature as an alum of your school? Because he's done nothing other than glorify the value of college education and college sport and what it all should mean.
You know what? He had a trial in the NFL before he went to basketball.
I didn't know that, really.
Yes, sir. He got a trial with the Cleveland Browns as a receiver. And to the fortune of the Boston Celtics, he ended up in the NBA.
I didn't know that. It shows how smart he is.
Wow. Okay, Dick, I think you're kind of enjoying this college game.
I really am. It really is fun. The band, and the fans, and the different things you see going on with it's a different atmosphere than the NFL, and a very positive atmosphere.
Boy, it'll be wild in Iowa City. Iowa and Michigan. That's to follow at the conclusion of this. And some of you then will see Auburn at Georgia Tech. Just a big day of football here on CBS. The official attendance, 89,888. Now, they told us they would guarantee us 90,000.
Yeah, what are they going to pay us now, huh? What are they going to give us? Another hot dog here at halftime, I think.
Okay, Spangler to kick off. He had a 39-yard field goal in the first half. Ray Wallace, Rod Woodson back deep for Purdue. Purdue had the option in the second half. They chose to receive, as Dick Vermeil figured they would. This is going to be Wallace from the goal line. Out to the 15, and good coverage by Ohio State. And here he comes, Air Everett.
That was Sullivan, Johnny Sullivan, one of the twins playing on the special teams as a freshman for Ohio State, that made that tackle.
John and Mike Sullivan out of Timberlake, Ohio. And we asked the coaches, they're twins. They didn't know they were twins, I don't think. We had to look it up in the book. But they're on the special teams, both freshmen. There's the stats on number 11.
Pretty impressive.
And I'm impressed that he was able to battle back a disastrous start. From the 15, first down. Everett giving off to Carter, and Carter gets across the 15 to maybe the 16-yard line. Pick up a couple of yards, and Larry Kolick, 33, made the stop. So they, again, are trying to change it up a little bit, trying to keep that defense honest.
Carter had a nice cut back there, but Kolick, number 33, really whipped the offensive blocker, Todd Tyree, number 53, on that play, and prevented him from making a nice one.
You know, right now, at this point of the game, Everett has thrown 224 passes, had only one interception.
That's just outstanding. I mean, I don't even remember ever hearing of anyone that good.
Complete. Carter fumbled it, and William White's on it. That is the way they started this football game.
You can see he's getting very nice protection. Now watch 24 to the right of your screen. See him now? He slips out, runs a little one-on-one cut right there. He catches the football. Now the defender's going to chase him. Now watch him reach with his arm and strip him from behind. Now that's coached. That technique is coached.
That was
Awfully
Pepper
nice
Johnson.
job by Pepper Johnson.
John Woolridge trying to take advantage of the turnover inside the 30 to the 29-yard line.
That's 3 turnovers, Gary, and for the pass completion, that was a big play.
And it's exactly the way they started this football game. They completed their first pass, had it fumbled. First pass completed in the second half, fumbled. They had another one fumbled at the 5.
You can see why they're so high on Thomas Johnson, number 98, who made that play here. They say the defense goes as he goes.
That's exactly right. All Big Ten performer. Second down. A long 5. Woolridge again. He'll get inside the 25-yard line. He'll be short of the first down. Fred Strickland and Tony Visco make the stop. Third down now for Ohio State, and almost 2 yards to go.
Big Cooper that we saw go off the field earlier in the ball game, number 44, the fullback at 238 pounds, is back in the ball game and blocking soundly.
That's that locky knee that he's had. That's no surprise to Ohio State. They've contended with that all year long.
Earl Bruce felt that this guy would be the key to success today.
Well, they started with him running a lot, but they've kind of gone away from that. Woolridge, Cooper in the backfield. 3rd and 2. Trying to get the corner, and it's going to be close. A flag now late after the play at the 25. Kennedy Wilson made the stop. And I believe we have holding, and we do, against Ohio State.
You know, normally in an eye-toss play like that, Gary, the holding penalty is on the tight end. That's normally what happens because he locks into the linebacker who's working inside out on the play. I've seen that so many times. Let's see what it is.
Ohio State has not been the type of team to be penalized this year.
No, they have not been penalized much. I think they've been only averaging 5 penalties a game, which shows good discipline.
That is Strickland, 48, having the option explained to him. He's got to take it because they may have gotten the first down. Isn't that something, though, Dick? All the coaching you talk about, you know, you make the 2 turnovers early. At halftime, you talk about not doing it, and you come right back out and do it again. And got to give some credit to Ohio State, though.
You do. And you know, when I was coaching with Chuck Knox and George Allen and Tommy Prothro and these people, John Ralston, they always had a drill with receivers and running backs out in the open and someone coming up and trying to strip the ball from behind them, just for mental conscious thing, just to make them aware that people do this.
So the penalty now will make it 3rd down and 13 yards to go. Lanise and now Doug Smith split out. Smith to the top of the screen. Lanise in motion. There's Santos with a lot of time. Now it breaks down. Throwing to Woolridge, and it was deflected. A great individual effort by Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin, who's another one of those walk-ons that we were talking about. They got a hand on it. There is a penalty flag back at the 40-yard line, but Sumlin, a walk-on from Indianapolis.
You know, Sumlin didn't even play as a freshman when he came here.
He was on the Sports Illustrated walk-on All-American team that they picked last year. They had a special category, and very deserving. He's been hurt all year long. He's had a problem with a stress fracture in his ankle.
And the other thing is, this guy's one of the top students on the football team as well.
The penalty is going to give Ohio State a 1st down. Personal foul.
Now, I'll tell you, the head coach over there, Leon Burtonette, he likes him tough, but he likes to control that toughness, and I'll bet he's upset. Look at this.
They had him stopped. Sumlin with a great individual effort. It would have been a 4th down. Instead, it's a 1st down at the 20.
That's when that defender who committed that penalty will go off and hide behind the bench so he stays away from the head coach.
1st down from the 20. 12:35 to go in the 3rd quarter. 17-10 Ohio State leading. Myers runs into a lot of people. Able to move the pile close to the 15-yard line. Rod Woodson coming up. Woodson, by the way, their leading tackler and just an outstanding athlete. He's a 2-time Big Ten 60-yard indoor hurdle champion.
And then, you know, he doesn't turn around and run track in the spring. He goes out for football. Now, a lot of guys, especially defensive back and receivers, look for an excuse to get out of spring ball. This guy doesn't.
You're exactly right. Man getting off the field late for Purdue. It's Weaver. 6 yards to go now on a 2nd down. Ooh, movement that time. That's Anthony Rose. Mr. Enthusiasm out of Elizabeth, New York. He is a fire plug, an emotional spark plug, and that time a little too emotional.
He's a communication major, and he broke down in the communication there.
I think I said New York.
Hey, look at that. Look at that.
New Jersey. Yeah, Leon's ready to play right now.
You know, I've almost forgotten how it feels to be that way, in that frame of mind. You know, really, being up here, you know, you're the resident genius. You know, never make a mistake. You know, you make all the right decisions.
5-yard penalty now makes it 2nd down, a yard to go. Lanise and Carter split out. Ohio State again trying to capitalize on a turnover. Carsados to Byers. And he'll go nowhere. Good reaction. At the 10-yard line, his forward progress is stopped. Wimberly was over there, Ziltz, Holly. And I'm impressed with the angle they had on this one.
Now watch the man in the right corner of your screen, number 89, Derek Wimberly. He's going to be being blocked by Rory Graves, 75, and he whips it. Now watch him, just working inside out. Good control, Wimberly. Now keep it inside out leverage on the ball, just like he's coached. A man turns it in, and there he is. Nice job. And he's not a starter. He's a backup player with all the talent. Maybe he's going to produce today.
3rd down now, still a yard, less than a yard to go. Just short of the 10. Cooper, the back. Ray Hine Carsados, and he's got some inside the 5. That is a load to tackle in that type of situation.
And the thing is, Gary, as a coach, you're on the sideline, and there's not much you can do about it. They just take you on. You can see the power of this guy. The quarterback's going to reverse pivot and hand the ball closely to George Cooper, 44. Now see him, now watch the power. Shoulders low, good offensive blocking. He just powering his way in there. Look, it's still moving. Guys dragging him down. They can't get him on the ground. That was Fred Strickland, number 48, finally hauling him in.
Boy, that's a tradition at Ohio State. Notre Dame, 14-7. Army is on the scoreboard with the Wishbone. 2nd straight Wishbone team they've played. Taggart, Hutchinson, 2 tight ends, give to Woolridge. Woolridge breaks the tackle, and more help is there. Mark Foster, Chris Dishman, And this is a gritty, determined effort defensively now by Purdue.
This defensive team is really flying to the ball. They're a very intense group of guys. And when you met, as we met the defensive staff the other day, he talked about intensity, and you can see the defense right here. Now watch them rally. They whips the block right there. Now here comes the other Kennedy Wilson. All right, Tony Visco, 49. There goes old Chris Dishman. They all want a piece of that guy. Let me hit him. No, you take him. No, I got him.
Second and goal now, just inside the 5. Mark Foster, who was in on that stop, is one of the many freshmen Purdue playing. He's out of the Philadelphia area. You've heard of him before.
Yes, I have.
Myers and Cooper in the backfield. Play action, Carsados, wide open, dropped. Ed Taggart, the tight end.
Great offensive call on second down. If you're going to throw the ball down the goal line, you might as well do it on second down. Nice call. Just too bad for Mr. Taggart. I don't think this guy drops many.
No, he doesn't. They feel he's one of the better catching tight ends they've had. As you know, historically, a lot of their tight ends have been mainly blockers.
Right, but you know, this guy only has 1 touchdown catch in his career. Maybe that should tell you something.
15 grabs at the start of this game. Myers comes out of the ball game. 3rd and goal. Just inside the 5. Lanise in motion. Carsado's going to throw again, and he's got it in for the touchdown. Chris Carter. Second touchdown of the day for Carter. He now has 6 on the year. Last year he had 8, which is a school record.
This guy's amazing because his ratio, complete pass and touchdown result, is 1 touchdown every 6 catch. So he's a big play receiver.
Spangler, point after attempt. And so Ohio State, very opportunistic again, takes the fumble and able to march in.
Again, play action pass. Now watch him. He fakes the toss and comes out there, has a blocker. And Cooper, number 44, he has enough time. He lays it right in there. Now Carter went into the defender and worked back to the ball and gets the touchdown. Nice job, Chris Carter.
That's his basketball ability, jumping. Ohio State, 24-10. Touchdown tosses, and 12 straight times now, Ohio State has scored following a turnover.
That's outstanding. And, you know, in contrast, when Ohio State turns it over, their defense doesn't allow them to score.
Spangler kicking off. This time it'll be Rod Woodson. Ooh, you can hear the hit clear up here as he is dropped at the 20-yard line. Don't forget now, immediately following this one, more Big Ten action. Michigan and Iowa. Michigan has allowed 1 touchdown, 21 points in 5 games, and Chuck Long has just been superb. And some of you will see Bo Jackson, and he'll be looking for 1,000 yards for the season going into this game against the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech. A lot of football left to be played. And in this game still, you get the feeling Purdue, the way they can move, their explosiveness. They've come from behind before, trailing 17-0 to cut it 17-10. Hand off to Carter, and that fooled no one. That was Pepper Johnson again. Pepper Johnson is from Detroit. He was a captain as a junior, a captain as a senior. And Dick, there's been only 4 guys in the history of Ohio State that have been captains on 2 different occasions.
I tell you, that's tough to do. You know what I found out in all through the levels of coaching? It's tougher to find a leader that leads leaders each time you advance, like especially get into pro ball. It's tough to find the guy that's going to lead the rest of the leaders.
Second down, 11. Hayes goes in motion. Everett with time. He's on target. A foot race. Ray Wallace to the 50. The angle is now by Terry White, and he catches up and drops him at the 22. 59 yards.
I was almost going to say, better lock onto that ball because here they come from behind. Ray Wallace is the fullback, number 43. We have a nice isolated shot here. The quarterback going through it. You'll find Wallace slipping out. Good protection. Look at that, all the time in the world. Now here he is, right to the middle of your screen. Now it's a foot race. That's Chris Spielman, number 36 linebacker, chasing him. I wonder if he's running with awareness that he's seen the ball stripped from behind.
I don't know. I would think that would be reminded. You know now that Everett has 339 yards passing.
That's not a bad day.
First down at the 22 of Ohio State. Everett again, and he hits Carter. Carter to the 10 and knocked out of bounds there. That was William White who put him in the nickel seats. 13-yard pickup, another first down, and Carter's not getting up. The running track over there is a rubberized surface. I think he's just, it's going to be okay.
Here he comes, here he comes. He's not going to get out of this ballgame with 11 catches last week, and he's on the way to doing that again this week. He's got 8 already, maybe 119 yards. And remember, he's not a wide receiver. He's a running back.
He came in here with 37 catches. Only Muster of Stanford and David Williams of Illinois had more.
And Earl saying, what's going on out there, lads?
First and goal at the 9. Medlock is in, along with Ray Wallace.
Coming after him.
Yes, sir, and Medlock picked it up. Throw, complete, Wallace, touchdown. That didn't take very long, did it, Coach?
No, I know. They came after him, and evidently somebody responsible for the back out of the backfield within the blitz did not pick that man up and just turned him loose.
It was Spielman who was coming up the middle. It was Spielman that was picked up by Medlock, the guy who had just checked in for Carter, that made that key block.
That's why they put him in there, to pick up people like that.
Jonathan Briggs, point after attempt. Fine drive. He got it. It looked a little shaky.
Doesn't matter as long as it gets between there.
80-yard drive by Purdue.
Here we are. You're going to notice a heavy rush come on the quarterback as he comes out of this fake now. Watch Medlock right here. Number 34, he picked up the blitz nicely. He's going to chase him, go stay after him and dog him so he can't come around from behind. Nobody picks up the back out of the backfield. Ray Wallace, number 43. That's his 6th touchdown this year at receiving.
And Purdue's right back in it. Ray Wallace, the senior.
And here's another guy, Wallace, that played 2 years at defensive back before being shifted to offense. Now, I would think most defensive backs would like that. Usually it's the other way around.
Jonathan Briggs will kick off. Got into this one pretty well. This is Vince Workman, a freshman out of Dublin, Ohio.
He can fly. This guy
he's
can
got
fly.
some running room, and it looked like he might go a long ways. It closed on him at the 25-yard line. Well, the Toyota Leadership Award is presented weekly to a team member who has been singled out by his athletic department and faculty advisor for his team contributions, grades, and citizenship. Today's game winners are Mike Lanise of Ohio State and Ray Wallace of Purdue. And Toyota will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. And we awarded that before Ray Wallace caught that last touchdown pass. So Ohio State again finds themselves in a little shaky position. They want to hang on to this football now, keep Everett off the field. New man in the lineup, Dino Dawson, 4, goes in motion. Rosados wanting to throw.
Oh, pass interference.
Dino Dawson,
Pass
no flag.
interference.
Rod Woodson defending, no flag, and I think you're right, Dick. It looks like a little bumping to me.
Sure. We might be able to see this from an end zone shot. Coming right down the hole, right bottom of your screen. Now watch this. See him push him with the right arm right there? That was definitely pass interference. The officials were right there in position to see it. I'm surprised it wasn't called.
Woodson trying to cover Dawson. That's the first we had seen Dawson. He's a sophomore out of Detroit. He had a broken hand that slowed his progress this year. Second down, 10. Byers is in the backfield with Cooper. Lanise in motion. A little draw to Byers. Byers to the 30. Okay, we've got an update. Let's go back to New York.
Gary, Penn State's special teams have set up 2 touchdowns for the Nittany Lions. Here, Michael Tinson, 48-yard punt return, set up John Schaefer's 1-yard touchdown run. Penn State up 14-0. And Gary, as Dick Vermeil knows, special teams should win 2 games a year for you.
What do you think about that, Dick? You agree with that?
I didn't hear anything. Excuse me.
Two special teams should win about 2 games a year for you.
Darn right.
From the 30 now. Third down, 6. And that one's not well thrown, but we have a penalty flag this time. Carter, the intended receiver. And Purdue's indicating it's against Ohio State. Let's see if that's right. It's exactly what it is. It's against the Buckeyes. That'll be a loss of down with that signal. Yes. And so they're going to have to kick the football.
Now Earl's getting involved here. Coach Bruce going to get a little upset.
Isn't it interesting, though, if you take those turnovers away from Purdue, can you imagine what kind of a football game they'd be having? They're having a good one as it is. But they've been on the move. They've had 3 turnovers that stopped them short.
Now, you just can't turn the ball over. I don't know what it is in college, but in the National Football League, a fumble is worth 3 points in the winning margin. For each one you get more than your opponent, and an interception is worth 5 points in the winning margin.
Tupa will come in and punt. Rod Woodson is back deep along with Griffin. 24-17, Ohio State leads. 7:16 to go in the third quarter. And Tupa hit it high, but not exceptionally long. In fact, he didn't hit it well at all. And the Buckeyes are going to watch it bounce, and they get somewhat of a break. It'll roll to the 50-yard line. At the 50, Purdue now, after a 34-yard punt. Air Everett's back and forth. And Purdue now have a chance to tie this football game up. This is their best starting field position today. They start just across the 50-yard line at the Ohio State end of the field. Carter's back into the football game along with Wallace. They give off to Carter, and Carter will get a couple of yards before Byron Lee, who I think has played a strong game, made the stop for Ohio State.
He didn't have to travel far. You know, he went to high school, Byron Lee, that is, number 82, at Eastmore High School here in Columbus, Ohio.
A lot of players from Eastmore. They have an outstanding high school tradition in the Columbus area.
It's nice they stay in town. You know, a lot of times kids want to get away.
Purdue's balance, interesting, isn't it? Passing 361 yards, rushing 11. But we expected that. Gained a yard on the last one, 2nd and 9. Everett in trouble. And he threw it through Marty Scott.
Now, he was under pressure that time, Gary, but that was a point I was trying to make earlier. Sometimes he throws those short ones awfully hard.
He did have to sidestep a man, but that's what you feel in just a matter of time and experience.
He'll learn to take a little off that thing.
Florida, Galen Hall has never lost a game since taking over the Gators. He's tied 2. Penn State, we just saw the update from Pat Heaton, 14-zip. Missouri's playing Nebraska tough.
People get ready to play Nebraska like, you know.
Look at that. It was 14-0 earlier. From the shotgun, 3rd down, 9. Marty Scott goes in motion. Protection, breaking down, and a great catch by Mark Jackson. Did he get enough for the first down? Just a little short at the 40. That was a tough catch by the man called Turf Jackson.
Again, back in the shotgun. All of the offensive linemen up in a 2-point stance. Watch them jam with their hands, doing a pretty good job. A stunt come around. There, number 61, Vince Banfield, reached out and grabbed the guy. He catches the ball. Boy, that was a tough catch because it was thrown tough. He didn't make the first down.
They're going to go for it.
I don't blame him.
4th down, less than a yard.
Hey, what do you think they'll do? Will they run or pass?
They got to pass, Dick. You can't run.
Call it.
I'm going to throw. 3 running backs into the game now. Medlock is in. Carter moving to the slot. They're going to run it. Medlock, he's got it. And that's the big bruising sophomore out of Georgia, Waycross, Georgia, and he's a specialist on this team. He's one of the few running threats they've got right now.
Runner and blocker. Waycross, Georgia High School. Now, that's a long ways from home, huh?
Can't catch the ball well, but they can use him in situations like that. So on 4th down, Purdue now has a first down at the 37 of Ohio State. They trail by 7. 6 minutes to go, third quarter. Everett with a lot of time. Over the middle to Carter. Carter very close to another first down, as he is dropped in the vicinity of the 27 by Pepper Johnson and Chris Spielman.
I think they must have run this same play. Now watch 24 in the middle of your screen, set to the right. And he's going to find a little hole. Now watch him pause. 1001, 1002, cross, check down. There he is. Puts his hand up, gets the ball. Now he's not a receiver any longer. He's a running back. Juke, juke. He gives him a little move and takes a hit.
Right now, 378 yards passing for Everett. This is the 5th time this year he's been over 340.
Bob Spoo told me they ran that check down play last week 11 times in the ballgame, and there must be close to that right now. Bob Spoo's their fine offensive coordinator, Gary. It really did a nice job of explaining the offense to us the other day.
He, interestingly enough, was a former assistant with the defensive coordinator of Ohio State, Gary Blackman. Knocking heads now.
What he did is put together the things that bothered him as a defensive coach.
Everett 6 of 7 in the second half for 115 yards. Second down, less than a yard. Here comes Medlock again, and the big, strong Georgia product has the first down, and he just wasn't going to give up on that play. Pepper Johnson had literally had to bulldog him down.
Big physical education major, being as physical as he can possibly be, carrying that football.
So Purdue now has it first down at the 24.
You know, when I was in college, Gary, I was a PE major, but I used to tell people it was physical engineering.
Griffin, Jackson split out. Everett. And Wallace turning to the ball, couldn't come up with it.
You'll notice the quarterback will not drop straight back this time. He's going to move off to one direction, moving the pocket. And he's getting pretty good pressure from Darrell Lee, 95. Offensive lineman doing a nice job. You can see him firing this strike, and he had a reverse pivot around. And he wasn't really watching the ball. He was watching that defender as he came around. Don't blame him the way those guys did.
That's right. That was Byron Lee coming on. At the 24, second down, 10.
Coming with a safety blitz.
They picked it up, though. And this is going to be no flag. Yes, there it is. It had to be. William White hooked up that time with John Hayes.
And the official standing deep in the secondary didn't call the interference penalty. The same guy that missed it earlier didn't call it. Someone had to come from the side here and make the call. That was
a late flag, and I couldn't believe there wasn't one coming, but we thought the same thing earlier.
Yeah.
Now, the rule here is it's a max of 15 yards that you can get on pass interference.
They ran a safety blitz. Sonny Gordon, the strong safety, number 7, blitzed on him, got good pressure. That's why they were in tight man-to-man coverage. Now, here's the coach. He likes that call. Here's Joe Hayes, makes a step move there. Now see him stick him and move inside William White, 37. Now let's see if we can see the interference. All right, there's contact made prior to the ball. Definitely pass interference.
Now they're calling it holding instead, which is definitely going to...
What a way to check out of
offsetting penalties. He had one holding against Purdue and pass interference.
All righty.
I did not see the second flag, Coach.
Me neither.
Everett needs time. Got it off, intended for Scott. Got to give a lot of credit to Everett. He just was in all kinds of difficulty, surveyed the whole field, and finally found Scott.
Everett is showing great poise to go through the progression of the discipline of the pattern, starting deep, working medium, looking short. You know, a lot of people, even in pro football, don't do that real well until they get that 4th and 5th year experience.
As you know, it was all Ohio State in the first quarter. They led 14-0. But since that time, Purdue has had 361 yards to Ohio State's 61.
Great domination.
Jackson, Hayes, Griffin in on a 3rd down and 10. Changing the play.
They changing the play and they changed the coverage. They're doing a little different moves here.
Everett, caught by Jackson, and he has the first down. And I tell you what, he fought that one for a while. It got away from him.
They gave Everett a different coverage look. They went to a zone anyway, and little Mark Jackson went down in there and found the zone. Now watch Jackson in the screen here, number 36. He goes inside. Now watch him work inside to the left of your screen here. Now see him working into that big zone. I think I could throw a completed pass in that zone. At 49 years old, that was an awfully big zone, was it not?
Boy, it was. And Jackson was so open, he almost didn't catch the football, but he fought it all the way, and the Terre Haute senior got him a first down, an 11-yard pickup. Everett now has thrown 40 passes in this game. In trouble. Down he goes. That's the 4th sack of the game. Kummerow, the former outstanding high school quarterback, was there. They call him the Stork. He's 6'6".
Kummerow is their leading sacker, number 14. He had 3 sacks coming into the ball game. Jim gets back there, and he hasn't been sacked many times this year. He gets back there, has good protection. He slides nicely out of the rush, and Kumaro comes around. Give the credit to the defense taking the pattern away downfield.
So the loss to the 20 now brings up 2nd down and 17. Here's a guy who asked to be moved to linebacker. Not very many quarterbacks asked to do that.
6'6".
Jackson, Griffin split out from the 20, 2nd and 17. Underneath again, it goes to Carter, breaks the tackle, 10, 5 to the 3. He needed to get to the 2 for a 1st and goal, but that was just that great open field ability.
They're just eating up that zone defense. Yeah, it looks like sooner or later they're going to have to lock onto those people if they're going to stop them from completing it. Again, play action. Follow 24 to the right of your screen now. Now watch him. Just direct your attention toward him. Here he goes, just looping underneath the crossing pattern. Now the linebackers are going to rally. They knock each other down. Nice move right there. Makes Spielman miss. Gets back into the field. Makes Terry White miss. You know, he made a lot of people miss last week.
Now Everett's over 400 yards for the 2nd consecutive game. He's a yard short of a 1st and goal. Almost 2 yards short. 3rd down. Nice fake by Everett. Throwing in zone and almost intercepted. That was Gordon on the deflection, the intended receiver. Medlock, number 34, the guy who's not the one they want in their receiving passes.
No, it was just a scramble outlet type receiver. He's got to kick the field goal here, I think.
I kind of felt like Everett had an angle for the goal, but you never want that guy running.
I don't think he has that kind of speed. He's a good athlete, mobile, but he doesn't have the kind of speed to outrun people inside out to the flag.
So Briggs, who in the 1st half was able to kick a 22-yard field goal, this will be a 22-yard attempt. Make it 21.
He's 2 for 3 from this distance.
From the left hash. His kick is up, and Briggs has delivered, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
2 for 2, and Leon Burnett has gotten a very fine effort from number 20. It's a 4-point game. Ohio State 24, Purdue 20. Problem on their hands. These Boilermakers, the old gold and black from Lafayette, have cut it to 4. Briggs has just kicked his 2nd field goal of the game, and Ohio State, Dick's got to get some offense going.
They better get the ball and hang on to it and make it productive and get down there and take 8 minutes, 7 minutes to score the touchdown. You know, a la old-time Ohio State fullback football, because they can't stop this with that zone coverage.
Here, Everett, the only way he could stop it is keep number 11 on the sideline. Here's Briggs kicking off. He is probably playing the best game of the year.
Yeah, I tell you, I'd give that guy the game ball. He's done a good job. 2 field goals, 2 long kickoffs into the end zone, and they came here with concern for his contribution.
So at the 20-yard line is where Ohio State will start. Now look what Purdue has done in the last 5 possessions. Touchdown, field goal, fumble, touchdown, field goal. But we have a flag on this kickoff, so Briggs may have to do it again.
Second quarter, Nebraska 15, Missouri 13.
That drive that started from the 5, you remember they got the penalty on the punt, and that just kind of turned the game around.
Still first quarter, Penn State 14.
Carsados, after starting out very effectively in this game, has now hit only 3 of his last 12 passes for 21 yards. As we have Mike Swanson, our outstanding statistician, very busy today. There's a lot of stats in this game.
Carsados has been going downfield deeper with the ball in this later part of the game, like 2nd quarter on, and those are a little harder to throw from a percentage completion standpoint. You know, in contrast to what Everett's throwing, dinking it right across the line of scrimmage, you know, there's a big difference in percentage completion.
Now, the penalty is against Purdue was offside, and Leon Burnett called the head linesman over. He's still discussing it, and they want to get this right because Briggs had a fine kickoff, and now the 5-yard penalty will have to boot it from the 35. We just bragged about Briggs, and it went for naught. He's got to do it again.
You know, it's amazing. Kickers are like anybody else. I always relate a kicker and compare him to a golfer. When your confidence levels up, you know, when you get that, you've been doing real well with that 9-iron, all of a sudden you just know you're going to do well with a 9-iron. You're a kicker, and you've been hitting it really nice, you know, and you get in pretty quick. You just know you're going to hit it well.
Hey, you got a nice-looking swing there. I know.
Hey, now, you've never seen me in action, believe me.
I've never hit a 9-iron well, so I can't identify with anything you said.
Yeah. Well, living in Arizona, that should give you at least 5 stars.
I tell you, it doesn't rub off on me. I needed some new coach or something. You come out and help me?
No, not me. Hey, that's one game I don't try to coach.
Briggs will kick off again after the penalty. Woolridge and Workman back for Ohio State. And he hit it well again. That penalty didn't hurt him at all.
Yeah, his motor's running.
All right. Let's go back to Pat Hayden now on that Army Notre Dame game. See what's happening.
Gary, watch the offensive line surge here, the Fighting Irish, that allows Alan Pickett to score from the 14-play drive, 10 runs. The Irish are grinding it out. Let's go back to Gary.
They sure are. They're running very well. You know, Pinkett against this Purdue team this year was held to 48 yards rushing. So they've done a good job against the Cadets of Army. From the 20-yard line, Ohio State will start the drive. 2:25 to go in the third quarter. Myers and Cooper in the backfield. Play action. Versatos is going to take off. And a good job by Strickland, who got off of a Byers block and made the tackle.
Yeah.
What are you grimacing about?
I don't know. I'm coaching to myself up here, Gary. Don't catch me on those kind of things.
Your body language up here is something to see.
Oh, God.
Here's Strickland, who made the stop.
The quarterback's coming again. 1st and 10. They're going to little play action pass. Pretty good protection right now. He sees a little hole set off to his left guard. Jeff Ulenik now is going to rally and help him right there. He gets a block downfield from Myers.
At the 25, it'll bring up 2nd and 5. A 5-yard scramble by Cruzados. The option this time to Byers. He's got the corner. And he'll go all the way to the 45, 1st down.
You know something, Gary? I'm not very smart, but I'd make sure that guy touches the ball maybe the next 10 times in a row when that ball snapped. You're going to see a fake to the fullback. Now, fullback starts right in the middle of your screen. Now, watch the quarterback break. Freezes the linebackers, come out. Option pitch. He dangles it out there nicely. Gets a block, open field. He makes Kennedy Wilson miss right here. Good block by the receiver downfield. Now, watch this guy cut back. Can you believe he's 238 pounds?
Last year in a game here, he carried the ball 39 times. So he's capable of doing what you said, but he's on the sideline now.
Well, again, relating to his foot. But just this other guy doesn't carry the ball too bad, you know.
1st down. Play action again. Cruzados throwing up the field, and the catch is made. Lanise. 1st down grab at the 42, a 13-yard completion.
There's a converted running back playing wide receiver. Now, that's usually not a tough conversion. Guys like those clamorous positions, but when you take a quarterback and move him to down linebacker or something like that, they look at you a little funny. You know?
Yeah.
Especially the first year.
That's where you become a salesman, right?
Yeah, you really have to do your job. Recruiting starts all over again.
Taggart and Hutchinson now, 2 tight ends in on this 1st down from the 42. Carter comes in motion. Here comes Byers, and here comes Purdue. And he's just scrambling for everything he can get. That's a pretty good athletic move for a guy that big, spinning around.
Good job of defense by Tony Visco, Gary, the linebacker playing on the tight end, Ed Taggart, number 80. Visco fought him physically and just wouldn't let him get out there.
2nd down, a pickup of 2, 2nd down and 8 at the 40-yard line. Byers out again. They're bringing him back and forth. This time they're going to go to a single back. That's Cooper.
With only one back there, there's no question who would carry it if they run, huh?
I think I could figure that out. Yeah. 20 seconds left in the quarter. And there's the guy you were talking about, and it's going to come to a 3rd down and still 5 as we're going to come to the end of this 3rd quarter here at Ohio Stadium.
Boy, that's been a long quarter.
When you throw over 40 passes like Everett has, it takes a while. 24-20, Ohio State leads. We'll return after this commercial break and a word from your local station.
Presto. Toyota, who offers a full line of 1986 cars and trucks to satisfy the most demanding owner. Who could ask for anything more? And by NCR, who bring you a better personal computer.
Almost 90,000 on homecoming here for Ohio State University. Ohio Stadium is the site. We have 15 minutes of football to play. Ohio State leading by 4. And right now they have a 3rd down and 6 at Purdue's 38-yard line.
What did Leon say to us? He says, all I could ask is to be really tight going into the 4th. He says, from then on, I think we can beat him. That's what he said, didn't he?
We'll see what happens. 3rd down. Lanise in motion. A delay to Byers. Byers close to the first down. Did he get it? He lunged forward to about the 32. Great second effort, and that's always characteristic of number 41. Sumlin and Wilson made the stop. They may measure.
Byers, acting as an official, gave the signal that he made it.
They said coming in here, Dick, that it was 95% sure he wouldn't get hurt, but there was a 5% possibility he could re-injure that foot.
I know it, but he doesn't really appear to be concerned about it. His idol as he grew up was Archie Griffin, who we visited with the last couple days, who works in the athletic department here now as a fundraiser. What a quality guy he is, Archie Griffin.
The only two-time Heisman Trophy winner in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
In fact, Byers was recruited by Archie. He said, hey, all great running backs should come here. So Archie had him here in a hurry.
And as great as Byers is, he's 2,600 yards behind Archie's record.
Isn't that amazing? First down after the measurement to the 32. Lanise and Carter split out, as is Doug Smith. The option, pitch back to Byers. And he'll be rammed out. They're still pushing him all the way out. And they're going to have a penalty flag on this one. That's Woodson, 26. Strickland was there first, number 48, and they're going to have a personal foul coming up on this one.
You know, I really don't know if I totally agree with that call. I don't think it was a vicious thing. They all had a hold of him, and they were all falling down together going out of bounds. I don't think he was hit after he was out of bounds.
You know, the crowd may have influenced that a little bit. They were screaming.
Hey, don't ever think that doesn't happen, Coach.
I know it.
Now, let's watch 41 as he enters the sideline here. All right, he makes a man miss. Here comes a nice tackle right there by Strickland. See, he's out of bounds. All right, that is a personal foul.
Woodson was real late.
That's right. Didn't see that guy. Definitely a personal foul. Now watch him. Good balance, good strength. They're wrestling down. Here comes Rod Woodson late. Shouldn't do that. 15th penalty all the way. Good call, sir. Always call him sir.
6 yards rush and then a 13-yard penalty. That's what it ends up being. Moves it to the 13-yard line of Purdue. That pitch was a little dangerous. Mercados almost didn't get that one off.
When you run the option, you don't worry about it. You pitch it.
Mercados, there's that shovel pass, and Cooper will be grounded at the 10-yard line. Visco there to make the stop. Let's update some other scores. Remember Missouri and Nebraska? Let's see what's happened in that game. It's still a battle in the third quarter. Nebraska has played so well. Tennessee leading Alabama. They've beaten Alabama the last 3 years. Vanderbilt, that's a surprise, leading Georgia.
You know, every kid I got at Philadelphia Eagle organization from Vanderbilt was really a super kind of coach.
And it's a very good program academically.
Yeah. Run a good program.
At the 10 now, second down, 7. Mercados off to Byers, one-on-one, and the tackle is made, and give great credit to Chris Dishman. Dishman is only 165 pounds, but he made the stop.
You see what he did? He got down low, below the hips, and wrapped the arms around the leg, and then just prayed for help. He's not a big tackler. Now watch 41 to the left of your screen. He's going to move off parallel to the line of scrimmage, going to the right. Quarterback's just going to lay it off out there. The lineman didn't get out there quick enough to pick up this block. Dishman comes up and makes his 18th or 19th tackle of the year. See him get those legs? Good job, Mr. Chris.
Formed really can overcome some size sometimes. Third down, 10. Carter, Lanise split out. Taggart the tight end. Mercados, and diving attempt by Taggart. He's had a couple in the end zone, one at the other end of the field, been very close. It was Kennedy Wilson and their nickelback, Mark Foster, that was also back defending on the play.
You know, Mark's from Philadelphia, Mark Foster is. He was really a fine running back at Lincoln High School in Philadelphia over the few years, and he rushed for about 1,300 yards, as we said earlier.
So they're going to have to settle for the field goal. This will be a 30-yard attempt by Spangler.
He's 62% in his career from this distance.
And the kick is up in a hurry, and it's dead center. Spangler, who coming in to this game is very close to the school scoring record.
I think he was only 20 points away coming into the ball game. He started the year 34 points away from the all-time scoring record, so he's got to be very close. You know, let's see. He's got puts him about, I'd say, 14 points away.
Yep. 30-yard field goal, and now we're back to a 7-point game with 12 minutes, 46 seconds left in this contest, as homecoming here on a gray, somewhat drizzly day has been a very exciting, very entertaining football game. And right now, Earl Bruce is probably trying to figure out a way to short-circuit Air Everett, which will be coming back on the field.
The other thing we've got to remember, in the fourth quarter, this defensive front of Ohio State's been rushing the passer over 40 times, and they've got to be getting a little tired. You're going to give the edge to the pass protection people.
27-20. Deck. Spangler kicking off. This is Ray Wallace, and his teammate Woodson says stay right there.
Good call.
Well, we were talking about Iowa. What kind of weather are they having? Let's go to New York and get it from our weatherman, Jim Nance.
All right, Gary, not very good weather at Kinnick Stadium, where the #1 Hawkeyes will be hosting Michigan. Rain is expected during the game, 55 degrees, but let's remember that Chuck Long threw 6 touchdowns in conditions similar to this last year in the Freedom Bowl. Back to you, Gary and Dick.
That's a good point, Jim. He was in a drizzling downpour in that bowl game and just annihilated Texas. From the 20-yard line, first down, Purdue, trailing by 7. Everett, there they go to Carter again, and Carter's got a first down. Nothing different, same thing they've gone to all day long. White Johnson on the stop, a 12-yard pickup.
You know, they're going to have to take the running back out of the ball game and give him a rest because he's catching too many passes. But see, that's like handing him the ball off right at the line of scrimmage.
That's what he calls a ball control offense by passing.
Yeah. You've got to clamp onto those guys if you're going to stop them. And the trouble is, though, if you clamp on, that allows throwing lanes in behind you, and it also isolates your corners one-on-one.
He now has, for the year, 48 catches, and he's going off limping a little bit. Carter will leave. 11 for 157 this afternoon for Rodney Carter. Give to Wallace. Wallace comes bursting out of there to the 50, and that crossed him up. That caught him napping all the way to the 45 of Ohio State before Pepper Johnson got in his way. 23 yards.
That's his longest run of the year. Now watch Wallace right here. Quarterback's going to reverse pivot, hand it off deep. He's just a very fundamental play. He's zipping up, making the longest run he's made this year. Prior to this run, it was 12 yards. They better find a way to stop these guys.
So that gain will move the ball just short of the 45-yard line of Ohio State.
Again, that front 7 of the defense may be getting tired.
In motion goes Marty Scott. Everett, there he goes again. Carter, and he almost stepped out of that tackle. Eventually grounded at the 40 by Chris Spielman, who was hanging on, able to drop him, and Carter really takes that hip away from him.
You notice how he caught the ball and anticipated where the defender was, planted and reverse pivoted and headed right back upfield.
The way this game is going, Everett is going to set a new game record. He had 474 yards last week, which was an all-time high. It was right now over 400 yards, the 13th time in Big Ten history a quarterback's been over 400 yards. Play action by Everett. Carter again and giving ground. Pepper Johnson really slams him down.
Little draw fake held those people. Yeah, excuse me. It was a little draw fake they ran in there, held him, and then he was able to get that ball out in the flat in a different way of getting the ball to the same guy.
Look at that, 13 for 165. Last week, Carter was 11 for 158.
This is his all-time high right here.
Yep. 10.5 minutes to go. 27-20. Ohio State leading Purdue. Third down now. 2 yards to go.
Gonna throw it, huh?
Everett. They faked it. Give it off to Wallace. That's a fine play, and Wallace has a first down.
That's the old pump statue. This guy's got everything in the offense. Let's give credit to old Bob Spoo and his offensive staff. Kit Cartwright, receiver coach, Mike Hill, the offensive line coach, Ray Sherman, the running back coach, and Mike Long, the graduate assistant. He works with the tight ends. Now watch the quarterback come back. He'll make a pump fake. Now watch him make a pump fake to his left. Now watch him pump the right arm. Now he reverses around and hands the ball off. Here he comes. Look at the defensive guy didn't know that he had the football.
First down at the 31 of OSU. John Hayes goes in motion from the shotgun. Carter again, the old safety valve, and they're on him this time, a gain of 1. Spielman is starting to get a little upset about that play, and he's made a couple of pretty good tackles.
I think he'd have it figured out by now. That guy had a 3-point, Spielman that is, had a 3.8 grade point average in high school, so he's smart enough to figure it out.
By the way, Minnesota has been a big surprise in everybody's estimation, and Indiana is trailing them 19-0. They'll be unbeaten in Big Ten play when they play host to Ohio State next week. And Michigan State now, boy, they're going to be very shaky playing Illinois the way they can throw the ball. From the 30, 2nd down 9. Everett's got a nice block. He's going to run with it. And he gets out of bounds. He's going to be 4 yards short of the first down as he steps out at the 25. Fred Ritter rammed him out.
The offensive center, Rick Skabinski, was out there leading him. It's actually a pass downfield, run second. They want to throw the ball on that, Gary. They don't really want him running the ball. That was Rick Skabinski, number 56, you saw leading him on that play.
He is the 4th Skabinski to play at Purdue.
You know, Vince Panfill, the left guard, or weak quick guard, Rick Skabinski, are lined up side by side, and their 2 dads lined up side by side in their careers in 1955.
Boy, what are the percentages on that one?
I don't know.
3rd down, 4. Protection is there. And wide open is Carter to the 10, 5. Carter to the 2. 1st and goal.
The pass is complete to Rodney Carter. Tackled by Steve Hill and Frank Hogan.
23 yards on this one.
Again, the shotgun. You're going to see Carter right here. See, he worked off the linebacker, actually almost shoved off light at the bottom of your screen. Now he's a running back. Now watch him make the guys miss. Boom, boom. He slips right in between 2 people. Good, strong running for a little guy.
1st and goal at the 2. They're going now to try to tie this one up. 27-20 Ohio State. Give to Medlock. Touchdown.
Touchdown, number 34, James Medlock.
Medlock, who has been a specialty performer today, scores. And for Medlock, that is his 2nd touchdown of the year. It's an amazing game, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Give credit when credit's due. It's pretty quiet in the stadium.
Yes, it is. Briggs now the very important point after to try to tie this one up. 8:35 left in the game. Shive to hold. This kick, boy, they were in there, but he was right down the center, and he's tied it up. 27 apiece. Gordon and White tried to get it from the outside.
Oh, fundamental running plays. See their left guard pulling, coming around there. That's Big Todd Tyree, number 53, leading him in there, just powering his way in. He gets it in, darn near standing up.
Tyree, one of those many players from Jefferson High School in Lafayette. We're all even. The point after by Briggs. We're dead even at 27 with 8:35 left in the game. Woolridge and Workman back a squibber, and it's going to go out of bounds. So they'll have to kick it over. You know, interestingly enough, now we have had Briggs kicking off very well from right to left because there's been wind behind him, but I'm not so sure the wind's blowing that hard to affect his strategy that much.
I'd let him go kick it because I look at the American flag right here in the left end zone, and it's hardly moving.
Again, the second half of the doubleheader, Iowa-Michigan. Bo Schembechler, maybe the biggest surprise of the year, 5-0. They've given up only 21 points. They played the toughest non-conference schedule of any school in the country and came through that unscathed.
Well, I don't think you should ever be surprised if Bo's football team plays well enough to win. I mean, I really don't. It's, you know, he can lull people to sleep with a graduating class. First off, they always have fine athletes, and secondly, he never screws them up.
And then some of you will see Auburn and an amazing man by the name of Bo Jackson against Georgia Tech. John Dewberry, their quarterback. Jim Everett has just been sensational.
You know, to really show the fans how good this young man is, he has been throwing a touchdown in his career every 12th pass completion. Now compare that with a fellow that I did a game for last week, Joe Theismann. At this time in his career, he averages 1 touchdown every 13 completions. Pretty nice work there, young man.
450 yards. His best, as we mentioned, was 474 yards last week. But this game still has 8 minutes and a half to go.
We might be here a little while, Coach.
The record is 516 by Scott Campbell against these Buckeyes in 1981. He's now playing with the Steelers. Boy, this is a strange kickoff. And Ohio State has it at the 45. Ed Taggart. That is not what Purdue would like to have. So Ohio State, excellent field position.
Sometimes you can overcoach yourself. You know what I mean? You got all these details figured out in your mind and all this kind of thing, and you don't go back and evaluate how good a job this kicker's been doing, you know, kicking them out of the back of the end zone.
Well, he's kicked 2 field goals. He's hit a very pressure-packed point after just a moment ago. What do I know? That's the reason I have you up here.
And that's why I'm up here. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
From the 45, first down, Byers and Cooper in the backfield. Straight ahead comes a big fullback.
I tell you.
And I should put the emphasis on big as he moves that one to the 48, a gain of 8.
Now you're going to see a good offensive line surge as the quarterback hands the ball off to Cooper. You can see the size of this man, and watch him get his pads down in there and just power. See, not everybody at 185 pounds can do that, but when you're 238, give the guy the ball. He gives those guys on defense a headache.
See the clock winding down. Ohio State would like to just maintain some ball control now. Milk the clock.
Good call, Coach.
Second down, 2. Byers dives, and he knows where he has to be, and he got the first down. Strickland over there to meet him, and he's just inside the 45-yard line. Now, they spotted the ball not where it really looked like he initially had it, so they may have to measure now.
No, he said, boy, it looked like they moved the ball back.
Well, that's one of those left foot, right foot spots.
Yeah, or knee down jobs.
So they're going to bring the sticks in. They got it. So Ohio State now, you would think, with that physical strength, the ability to knock people over, got to go to it now.
I'll tell you, this defensive team, Purdue's got to suck it up. Joe Tiller, the coordinator of the defense, has done a great job, along with Bob Duda, the linebacker coach, and Greg McIntosh, the linebacker coach, and Ron Mims, the secondary coach, and Jeff Williams. These guys have done a good job with the defense.
First down at the 45 of Purdue. Marsados, the blitz is coming. Sutherland's got him, and he gets it off anyway to Carter. Woodson's there, and Woodson got him. Pickup on the play.
Here's number 2. Chris Carter coming off now. He's going to lose him. Little move to the outside. Now see him give that and just shook him completely. No help inside because in contrast to his zone, they're all playing man-to-man. Most were committed to the rush. Here he is right out in the open field. And Rod Woodson, number 26, had to come over and make off the play.
I'm not sure. There could have been a lot of guys make that play. Woodson went over there flying.
Give the credit to Jim Carsados because he was under duress when he threw that one.
They had 2 linebackers coming after him, and they were able to get it off. From the 20, first down. On the option, Byers, Strickland is there, and here comes help. In particular, Brad Horner. Strickland, you can see why they think he's a big-time player.
Right, you know, that's really not a true option. They don't want the quarterback to run. What it is, a fake to the fullback and a pitch to the tailback. If it was a true option, the quarterback would have taken the ball down the line of scrimmage and then flipped it late. You can see he didn't do that.
Well, they lose some yardage on that one. They'll lose a yard, 2nd and 11.
That's a big thing you don't defense in pro football. You don't have to worry about the option type plays, and you worry about rushing the passer and those kind of things instead.
But I remember you had John Shire running the option when you were in Philadelphia, or at least practicing.
Yes, I know. I actually gave him half of my contract when I went to Philadelphia.
2nd and 11 now from the 21. Cooper, Woolridge in the backfield. There's the pitch back to Woolridge. Woolridge doesn't get the corner, but he does stay on his feet, and he goes out of bounds with a very courageous effort close to the 15-yard line. Visco and Ziltz over there.
That time, he had to pitch it right now. It was a nice job. You'll see the quarterback here now. He's right in the middle of your screen. He's going to make a quick fake. Now watch the pressure. He gets right in the middle of his face, right there. See, he had to flip it out there. Now watch the move that Woolridge makes here. He makes 19 miss. That's Chris Dishman. Come on, Chris. You got to wrap those arms around like you did earlier in the game. He didn't get it done. Good rally by Kennedy Wilson.
He did it earlier, as you mentioned, against Byers. That time couldn't do it.
He didn't get him wrapped.
3rd down 5.
A little confusion on defense right now.
Carsados, he's going to run. And he paid for it. He is hit very hard, short of this 5-yard line by Dishman. And now it's going to be marked at the 7-yard line. First and goal.
You know, they ran this down inside this territory earlier. In fact, they scored on it one time. See the fake the toss, comes out there by himself. He gets a nice block by the offensive tackle, 75, Rory Gray. And now he thinks he's a running back. The Orange County Player of the Year in Orange County, California. He says, heck, I'm not a quarterback, I'm a running back.
That was Strickland that got over there. First and goal at the 7. 5:49 left in the game. 27 apiece. Carsados to Byers. Byers out of bounds at the 4. Strickland and Dishman, they had the whole student body ahead of him on that play.
Yeah, that's the old play that USC used to run so efficiently, probably better than anybody in football. The old I toss, you know, student body right, student body left.
Byers now with 72 yards on 17 carries.
You know, he came in the year only 566 yards behind Tim Spencer as the #2 all-time rusher in the history of Ohio State, so he'll probably get that this year.
You wonder if he could be in football shape. I know he's been riding all kinds of bicycles, but there's a little difference between doing that and running the football on the football field.
Yeah, very little comparison.
Second down now, a goal just inside the 5.
That's it.
Byers,
That's it.
he lunges, and they're not going to give him the touchdown. He's just short. And Byers thought he got in. He's disgusted. He thought he scored.
You know, as an offensive coach, when you have a running back like Byers, it eliminates the decision on who to give the ball to. You know, it really isn't too complicated.
They make you look like a genius.
Yeah. Here it is, good old fundamental. Everybody runs this in high school, college, pro football. I lead play. There he is getting the pads down. Again, a 236-pound, 238-pound halfback almost gets it in. The ball didn't cross the plane of the goal line.
He had the wrong arm across the goal line.
Switch it over there.
It's now third and goal, and you see how far they have to go.
You know something? This team might be scoring too early. Because, you know, Purdue's going to come back.
Carsados to Byers. Touchdown. Woo. The man who was a preseason favorite to win the Heisman has scored his first touchdown. This guy is one of my favorite people. Visiting with him, articulate. His father is a minister. He's handled the discouragement very, very well. Now has given the Buckeyes a lead. Spangler, point after attempt. 34-27.
Just again, the old I lead play. He's going to try to get up over the top. Now watch as he appears to the right of your screen. He'll come in late. The quarterback is going to try to get him the ball back as deep as he can, giving him room to get the pads up in the air and over the top of the pile. Now here he goes. Jump, get up there. Let's see if he crosses the plane in that goal line. There's the, yeah, he made it. He made it. Good call, official.
Has returned today, and he just scored the go-ahead touchdown. But we're going to pick up on a point that Dick Vermeil made just a moment ago as Spangler kicks off. Ray Wallace is going to let it go out of bounds. That's a 5-yard penalty. Now, Coach, I want to bring up a point you just made before Ohio State scored. You said they may have scored too soon.
Well, the way Purdue, you know, first off, they've got to score. I'm not saying go ahead and hold the ball and don't score. But they now have, you know, 4 minutes to go or more to move the ball. And the kind of offense Purdue has, you can do that easily. That's all. Yeah.
Total offense in this game, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
836 yards. Now, you know, last year, Ohio State had 570 yards in offense and lost.
It could be turned around right now if Purdue doesn't get going. But Purdue's the kind of team, as they demonstrated right before the half, that does a good job with the 2-minute offense. Remember, they got the field goal and those kind of things. I think they've got them right where they want them.
This guy's ready to try to get this lead back or tie, and we'll be talking about that. Would they go for 2? Would they go for the tie? As we said, neither team can afford to lose their second game in Big Ten play. Spangler kicking off after the 5-yard penalty. They're going to get a good return on this one. Woodson out to the 20, 25. Oh, he fumbled it. It's picked up by Purdue. Advanced farther up the field. Very opportunistic on that play.
Walt Foster picked that up.
He is a backup freshman fullback.
Right.
And that's one of the few that bounced their way today.
Yeah, that's one. Hey, they deserved it. They deserve that darn thing. But good contact made here. Now you can see Rod's got the ball out away from his body. Tuck it in there. That's it. Covered up. But a great hit. I wonder if that was one of those twin brothers that hit him. I couldn't see the number, the Sullivan brothers. He's got it tucked away. You can see he isn't going to turn it around.
That's who it was, Dick. Mike Sullivan.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
They earned that scholarship. That was a 15-yard return and then a 10-yard gain after the fumble.
You coach that. You coach that. Remember that.
Number 35, 4:33 left in the game. Everett wide open as Jackson. That'll be a first down, and he gets out of bounds, stops the clock. That'll be just across the 50-yard line. William White made the stop. Dick, that's a long throw.
That is a long throw, but he has a strong arm. You're going to see just a normal out pattern, zone defense, nobody underneath him. He's playing to give him a 6-yard cushion. He doesn't want to get beaten deep, but you can't give this football team too many of those. Now, William White came over and put him out of bounds, but that was still a nice game. Long throw, as you say. Hash mark, it's out of bounds there. That's a long throw.
Jackson out, Hayes is in, along with Griffin. First down at just about the 49 of Ohio State. Everett, that one skipped. A little short, intended for Carter.
What he actually did that time, Everett didn't set up real well. He threw off balance across to his body and lost all touch on the football.
He is now, get this, 39 of 49, 467 yards. So he is still not up to what he did last week. He had 474 yards last week.
Give him time. Give him time.
Look at this. Notre Dame defeated Army. That's the first loss of the year for the Cadets. In motion comes Mark Jackson. Second down, 10. Everett in trouble. He gets rid of it, and it's intercepted. Byron Lee. Now he's going to scramble off to his right. He gets a little heat right there. A good job of getting pressure on him was Ray Holloman, number 55. The ball's batted right there. And again, this guy, Byron Lee, getting his first interception of the year and probably the most important of the year. And that's only the 4th of the year by Jim Everett. All of Ohio State needs to clamp this one down and keep the football for the Buckeyes. Rory Graves at 280, Jeff Ulenik at 250, Maggs at 286. And here they come. Cooper. You know, they planned to redshirt Cooper a year ago, and they lost all their fullbacks in one ball game, and he's the only guy left. They had to put him in and play him. That interception broke a long string for Jim Everett. Yes. And couldn't have come at a worse time, and you know he wants to get another crack at it. 3:42 left. Did you see the clock? 34-27 Ohio State. Second down now. 4. Into Byers. To the 31. You know who he runs like? Wait a minute. Here's a guy that's really disappointed, you know, but he could be so proud of his pass interception ratio. You know, his ratio of 1.4% pass interception ratio would rank him second in the NFL right now. That's pretty outstanding. Sublin is shaken up on the play for Purdue. He's going to be helped off limping. He's had a stress fracture of that ankle. Who does Byers run like, you start to say? He reminds me of Earl Campbell when he was younger. He runs, he has his shoulder pads back enough, and he's got his weight always distributed properly. He's very powerful. They bounce off him, yet he can make all his other moves. He reminds me of Earl Campbell. You know, I think about that little spinning move he made there.
Yeah, you just stop and picture Earl, you know.
Yep. First down now at the 32. Santos taking his time. 3 seconds, 2. And here's Cooper lunging forward. Cooper to the 25.
You know, Gary, talking about that offensive line, this offensive line is bigger than any pro offensive line that I coached. Good, big, physical, strong people. Rory Gray, 75. Look at this offensive line in action now. Here they are. Here's the horses coming off the ball. Nothing fancy. Just go out and knock people off the ball and give them some room. Give it to a big fullback. Look at that nice block by Rory Gray, 75. He ends up almost getting nailed by his fullback.
This Purdue defense has hung in there tough, but they're getting beat up a little bit now. From the 25, it'll be second down and 2. Fires Cooper, and Cooper runs over people to the 10. Kennedy Wilson was the receiving end of that, a 16-yarder. I know yesterday Earl Bruce thought that Cooper was ready to break out and have a long run.
The defense jumped over to defense the other side of the formation, and I'll be gosh, they handed the football right where they jumped out of and gave him a nice hole to go running through it. Here's that big horse being taken on by a defensive back, Kennedy Wilson, downfield, and that is a physical mismatch. The defense slid to the right and opened a big hole there, and they didn't, boom, popped right through.
Guess wrong. From the 10, first and goal, just inside the 10. Fires the 5. Fires on his feet. Touchdown.
I don't know what you're doing here. What's this?
Back-to-back touchdowns by Byers in this fourth quarter has made it a 40-27 game. Spangler makes it 41-27.
Here it is. You're going to give the ball to one of the guys in the best. Look at that hole up there. Now watch the power. See what I'm talking about? The Earl Campbell power, the good body lean. He gets his pads back up straight and gets it in the end zone.
Now with a 41-27 lead. After having it tied up 27-all, Keith Byers has scored 2 touchdowns in this fourth quarter. And in this fourth quarter, Ohio State has scored on all 3 possessions they've had. Okay, let's go back to New York. Let's join Jim Nance.
All right, Gary, in the battle for number 1, much has been made about Bo Schembechler's defense, which has allowed but 1 touchdown this year. But I'm sure the Wolverines will remember a year ago it was Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes who shut out Michigan 26-0. Let's go back to Gary and Dick.
Thank you, Jim. What is it that coaches talk about before the game when they come out like that?
I tell you, it's the greatest con job going. Hey, you're doing a great job of coaching. Hey, so are you. And, geez, you know, too bad you lost last week, or great job. Let's get back here.
Everett on the pass of Jennifer Carter, and he was hit by Rogan, I should say. Okay, you saw Bo and Hayden and the 2 of them meeting at center field, and boy, that's going to be some game. Chuck Long has just been superb. You see last week where he got an outstanding running performance, and that's added to their passing game.
But the defensive stats of Michigan are almost unbelievable.
1 touchdown, 21 points.
Yeah, they really are.
And they haven't given up any points in the fourth quarter. Touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Everett. And that's behind it, incomplete. Griffin, the intended receiver, and pounding the turf, thinking he should have had the interception, was Spielman.
Did you see how he flipped that ball out there? He just sort of sidestepped the rush and moved forward, a little off balance, and just fired about a 30-yard shot.
So they've already got a 3rd down with 1:56 left in the game.
Tough to turn the ball over, Gary, and still win.
Boy, they have done that, haven't they? They started out with the 2 turnovers early.
And it actually looks like with that 41-point score, it looks like the route type thing, but that's not a true picture of how the ball game's been.
34 of 52 now, 467 yards as ever. He's hit as he throws this one, and he got it off anyway, complete to Mark Jackson. And that'll set it up at the 49 as Cumero, that came storming through. We have a man shaken up for Purdue.
29 yards.
I think Mike Connors is down. Now, here he is.
He's up. He's tough. He's a sophomore out of Chicago.
You know, Keith Brown, who was a backup offensive tackle, number 72 for Purdue, is filling in for a starter, Mark Drent, their inspirational leader. And, you know, he's done a great job the whole ball game.
Yes, they have. By the way, that completion gives Everett a new record of 497 yards passing. He had 474 last week. He throws and incomplete.
Some things go his way that, you know, that don't normally go your way in terms of a nice pass completions, advance the ball offensively, and then get the turnover. But you can go back and give those guys that made those tackles some credit.
Well, I remember the one where Pepper Johnson reached in.
Yes.
Well, they got behind 14-0, but they made a struggle out of it. Second down and 10. Everett, and that's a little too thin, and it's intercepted. That's the guy who's been close before, Spielman.
I think he might. But those kind of guys get excited when you say, let's go have a hot dog.
That's what I mean. I'm not sure he'll relax. From the 36 now. First down, Ohio State. 1:28 left in the game. Cooper. Well, if you looked at the newspaper tomorrow and you saw the score and you didn't read between the lines or read down the actual column, you'd think this game was not very close.
But you can tell it how far apart they are by the expression on that young man's face. You know, I think a lot of people have a hard time realizing how much a young man cares about winning. You know, they think it's just a game baloney. These guys really, really care.
Time yards and offense in this game. And Byers, who had 96 yards prior to that carry, advances it inside the 40. Tony Visco made the stop, and Purdue's going to ask for yet another timeout. They have one remaining. 1:06 left. Iowa, Michigan. I saw Michigan last week. They defeated Michigan State 31-0. Dick, I've always been impressed about how physical the Big Ten is, but I thought Michigan was as physical a looking team as I've seen in a long time. 1:06. You see it on your screen. And there he goes over the 100-yard mark, and he hammers it out to the 49, and a job well done. Jeff Witter made the stop. Minnesota still unbeaten in the Big Ten. Lou Holtz in his second year has an outstanding quarterback in Ricky Foggy. North Carolina beating North Carolina State. Florida easily over Southwest Louisiana. Byers 106 yards now. Pittsburgh winning again. So I imagine that's will be the end of the effort for Byers today, and he'll get ready next week for that Minnesota team.
They better get ready.
That's
Of
really
course, the Minnesota team is not a finesse offense. They take and run, and that maybe play into the Ohio State type defense. You can see they have trouble defense in the pass.
Here's John Woolridge, and he's going to get a first down inside the 40. Take this opportunity to thank our producer Mike Arnold, our director Bob Fishman, Scott Johnson, our associate producer, Rich Gentile, our broadcast associate, our statistician Mike Swanson, our spotter Trey Bender. As it's been a very entertaining game, and it looked like early with a 17-0 lead that Ohio State was going to have a cakewalk. It didn't turn out that way.
But I really respect the effort of Purdue, and we expected this from Ohio State. It was a good college football game. It's what the game is all about. This is the positive of college football. There's an educational experience going on down there, believe me.
From the 37, Pitts coming back to Workman, who had a 100-yard game against Illinois last week. By the way, Byers is over 100 yards for the 17th time in his tremendous career.
And that puts him over 3,000 yards in his career. He'll get up over 4,000 before the end of the season.
Well, it's going to be a little easier now. You get that first one out of the way, the anxiety of whether he could come back. He proved he can. And they have some tough games ahead. They got to play Michigan and Ann Arbor this year. Give to Barry Walker. And the game has come to a close. 41-27. Ohio State defeats Purdue. We'll return after this word from your local station. With a total of 497 yards. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet to each college's general scholarship fund. The final score, 41-27, Ohio State over Purdue. For Dick Vermeil, I'm Gary Bender. Iowa, Michigan, and for some of you, Georgia Tech and Auburn coming up next.
Fly